Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M,
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Pat Buchanan.
Well, you know, it's
a good look.
Camp. It's duck camp, so.
Little duck camp action.
Shirt, duck camp hat, kind of match.
Double Greeking.
Double what?
Double Greeking.
Yeah, okay.
Is that still a thing? I don't know. McKinley's not in here.
Double Greeking.
Yeah, so like back in the day, in the late 90s, if you wore your fraternity shirt, you couldn't also wear a fraternity hat. You couldn't double Greek.
Oh, never heard of that.
But if you're a baseball player, you can double Greek, right?
Leave it to me to start off the show with a fashion faux pas.
No, I think duck camp, you're allowed to do both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
You can't double Greek, but you can double duck camp.
You can double duck.
Camp.
Double duck camp.
Hey, I want a petty football team. Okay?
All right.
I want a football team that like thinks about things that maybe other, like, come on, that was last year. No, I want a football team that thinks about, okay, this team last year cost us a chance at the SEC championship game. Okay? And I know a lot of it was A&M self-inflicted, but I don't want them to think of it that way. Yes, I want them to clean up the self-inflicted issues, right? Fix up that defense, stop somebody at the end of the fourth quarter, of course. But I want a football team that looks at that game last year, and this year it's about getting even and going beyond what they did last year, right? Protecting your home field, got to be a must. You want to be this program we envision, you got to protect your home field, and also right the wrongs. Everything that went wrong last year, I'm coming for blood in 2025.
I think this is a really important game. Obviously, it's the first SEC game, but beyond that, A&M, if you'll go back, not 100%, but typically when A&M beats Auburn, it's
good year.
It's a good year, you know, going back to 2012 and 2020. And even I think it was that 2016 year when they won up there. I'm trying to remember the scores, like 27-16. Mm-hmm. Looked really good. And that was the year they were number 4 until Trevor Knight got hurt, you know. Yeah. And there's been some other years. When they beat Auburn, that's kind of an indication that good things are coming.
But I do want them to stew on it, right? Like, if they kind of stewed on the Notre Dame loss, right? Like, they know that was a game that they got outplayed, especially in the fourth quarter, but they had their chance to win that game. Mm-hmm. It was tied, right? Tied in the fourth. I want this team that was bad last year beat us in triple overtime, and this cost us a chance at the SEC championship game? We're going to curb stomp them.
Yeah, you know, I hope they get out to a lead, which they did not do last year, and are able to play with that lead the entire game instead of getting down. What were they down? 17, 20?
21-0
last year, and fought back and took the lead, but then, you know, had a series of drops, whether it be a snap or a pass. And that cost them.
Paul Feinbaum says that he says, I think Texas A&M is a top 10 team, and this could, yes, they are, by the way, Paul, thank you. This could be a Waterloo moment for Auburn. You can't go on the road and lose both of these games because you still have Georgia in 3 weeks and Alabama after that. So this is going to be a desperate Auburn team because you project.
Much like Notre Dame was.
Yeah, you project forward, right? Like, all right, hey, of the most winnable, you know, that mindset, at least fans have that, like, this is the most winnable of these games. You got to have this one after losing that last one to Oklahoma.
I find it interesting that A&M is averaging 40-something points, and teams and media look at it and say, oh, this is the most winnable game. Really? Oh, okay.
Okay, we're about to find out.
That's what I hope. The message gets delivered to A&M team all week is that, hey, everybody's talking about, this is the most fun. You went on the road and beat Notre Dame, which lost by 3 points on the road at what?
Yeah.
At the number 3 ranked team in the country now?
Correct.
And nobody respects it.
Well, one difference between this year and last year, and look, I think the reason A&M lost last year was because of the defense. I don't think it was the offensive issue. You scored enough to win that game against Auburn and against USC and yada, yada, yada. But no Le'Veon last year against Auburn.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily translate to, you're not going to necessarily score more points, although I think you would score more points with Le'Veon. But the ball control that you could do. Justin in the back, he put this note. A&M averaged 3.2 yards per carry last year against Auburn.
Again, no Le'Veon.
No Reuben.
No Reuben. Quite frankly, I think Auburn has a pretty solid defense, especially run defense. So you're going to have to earn it.
You think more solid than Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Because now the talk is Notre Dame's defense isn't good. Against Miami, they gave up how many? 27 points?
27 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
The number 2 team in the country?
I think 2 or 3. I'm not sure.
And against A&M, who scores 40 a game apparently. And what did they give up to Purdue this past weekend? I don't think it was that much. Was it?
They gave up 30, I think it was.
Oh, is it that much?
But one of the touchdowns was, meaningless in the last 2 minutes.
Okay.
But Purdue moved the ball on them somewhat, and Purdue's not great, but they're not the punching bag they were last year.
So here's Jackson Arnold's stats on the year: 48 of 69. He's passed for 501 yards, 4 touchdowns without a pick. He's also run for.
That's the key right here. What you're about to say.
What I'm about to say, or what I just said.
What you're about to say.
192 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns.
27-yard touchdown and a 24-yard touchdown against Baylor. He won that game by running. And did he not have a big run against Oklahoma? Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game. But anyway, he's a running threat. And it's a running threat that you have to acknowledge. And when Auburn's defensive coordinator was A&M's defensive coordinator, he rarely, if ever, acknowledged that you're actually facing a running quarterback or a quarterback who's a running threat.
So what you're saying is maybe Marcel will run a little bit?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't remember how much he ran against Auburn last year. Luke, look that up for me.
To my knowledge, it wasn't anything dramatic.
Right.
I think that so many teams saw what Marcel did against LSU, and so they schemed to try to take him out of the running game.
Okay. Yeah. We'll take 66 yards.
Yeah, better than I recalled. But
yeah, I'll take it on 15 carries. How about that?
So
I don't know if I want Marcel running this early in the season 21 times in a game.
No, but I've said it before. If the run, especially if you're passing and nothing's open, if the run is there, you can take it and then get down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really haven't seen much of the read option either this year.
No, and maybe part of that's because that's what teams worry about with him.
Yeah.
And
so he's been beating him with his arm.
Maybe you can use that against him. And as Mike Elko talked about at length after the game at Notre Dame, he's proven himself to be an accomplished passer. So
yesterday you felt pretty good about this game. I want you to explain your confidence of why you think A&M will do so well against Auburn.
Well, I think I don't think the 40 points a game thing is a fluke. I think they're that explosive, and you haven't really seen the running game be that huge a factor yet, and I think that's coming. I think that's an A&M offense that you have to now defend the entire field, and that's going to open up things in the running game. If you adjust to that, there's just so many ways they can beat you, and the A&M defense is somewhat of a concern. I'm less concerned, believe it or not, about the run defense than I am the pass defense, especially with Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton on the field. But I do think that Mike Elko is going to scheme up some ways to get pressure on Jackson Arnold. And if you can I know Oklahoma's supposed to have a great defense, Okay, a great defense. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's definitely very good, and better than we've seen from A&M. But you've had 2 weeks to try to fix up some things. You're at home. I just think that I said 41-31. So I think Auburn's going to get in the end zone. But I think Auburn's going to have a hard time keeping A&M out of the end zone.
So I had an Auburn insider ask me, he sent me a text, what do you think A&M's biggest issue is on defense? And I said, before the season, I would have told you, or maybe the first couple of weeks, would have told you the rush defense. But I think it's the same issue this year that it was last year, at least so far. It's the big plays.
Mm-hmm.
That for the most part, it's still 2, 3, 4 plays that, like, you look back, like, if you take away those plays, which you can't, I recognize, the numbers look way better defensively.
Well, I think they've made, I think, outstanding progress in run defense since the 75-yard run by UTEP. I'm not by UTEP, by UTSA.
Mm-hmm.
Since, remember, at the end of that game, after that long run, they barely gave up anything.
6 straight punts.
Utah State, they didn't do anything amazing in the running game. And then Notre Dame, I had to go in there feeling like Notre Dame was going to make some plays because that's one of the better running games in the country. And I still go back to in that Notre Dame game, and I hate to call somebody out, but we all saw it, on their longest run, a 24-yard touchdown, Brooks had a great chance to keep that to a no gain. It was a kind of a sweep to the left, and he comes in and you're thinking, okay, he's going to make a tackle here, and it's going to be a minimal gain, and he just takes a bad angle and he doesn't make the tackle. And I think those are some things right there that's correctable.
Yeah.
But you've got to get it corrected.
Yeah.
If nothing else, go in there and just grab hold and hold on to something until you get some help.
Hey, I think Luke's going to be happy because I want to transition to a short bit, a basketball topic involving Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Pearl stepping away. When I first saw it, I was like, is there a health problem? Like, it just seemed out of the blue. And then my second thought was, they better not be thinking about my guy Bucky, right? But no, they're going to hire I guess they've already hired his son to take over. Is it Steve Pearl? Am I right about that?
Yes.
Steve Pearl. But it kind of came out of left field, didn't it? Like this close to the season?
Yeah. Part of that could be, I heard his press conference and he says, he's just ready to do other things with his life. He's 65 years old, wants to, and part of it could be, you said, you questioned the timing. Is the timing orchestrated so much where we have to make his son the coach?
So I know what to do. When I'm ready to retire and let Christian or Cruz take over the show, I'm going to wait till 3 days before football season and be like, you know what, I'll still be ahead of content, but, let the boys do it.
It's not uncommon for a coach to time up his retirement in a way that the university has to hire the guy that he wants to replace him. I saw Vanderbilt's head coach in football do that like 15 years ago.
Right.
It was I think his name was Bobby Johnson, and it's in late July. And he said, I'm not going to go. So, but our offensive line coach and assistant, he's going to take over, and so that's been done before. Unfortunately, in basketball, with and Luke, the all-knowing basketball guy, may be able to correct me on this.
Auburn, the greatest basketball team in the history of basketball. Remember?
Yeah, but they may be. There's been times when you've seen the son replace the dad, and I've never seen it work. Like Pat Knight at Texas Tech, Joey Meyer at DePaul.
Yeah.
There might have been something similar at Oregon State with Ralph Miller. I might be wrong on that, but I've just never seen it work.
Yeah, me neither.
Maybe this will be the time.
And apparently Houston's going to do the same thing at some point when Kelvin Sampson. Kellen's already been told that he'll be the heir apparent for a long time. This is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and it is the
Go Hour.
Yeah.
Brought to you by the warehouse at CC Creations.
Yeah. And we are currently hanging out where?
The Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
I love that. I love hanging out at the holistic.
Yeah.
I would do multiple segments here if it was allowed.
Why isn't it?
Let's just do another one after this.
Sure.
Sound good? And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it somewhere. What's it called?
You can call us or text us on the Buc-ee's Catering and Bartending hotline at 979-693-1150.
Yeah, I love the Buc-ee's Catering and Bartending hotline. Let's go around the room, left and right, to say hi to the people behind the glass. Is a smiling basketball evangelist. Hello, sir.
Hello, y'all. And you know why I'm smiling is because it's now officially college basketball season. Yesterday was 42 days until the season opener, which means that most teams around the country started their official practices. So we are officially in the preseason, which means it is officially college basketball season.
So it's not a college basketball season. He just said we're officially in the season, but it's 42 days until the season. I'm sorry, I don't think we're officially into the season for number 42 days.
But if we're practicing, are we kind of?
We talked about practice.
Has A&M started practicing, Luke?
Well, okay, so like the technical term is everybody has already been practicing, but now they can start official practicing, which if you are following NCAA bylaws and all that structure, it just means they can practice more than they have been throughout the summer and the fall. So technically nothing has changed except they'll be on the court more, but for all the basketball people out there, it is kind of signifying that basketball season is here in a similar way that like SEC Media Days does for football. Like it's finally, okay, we're finally at the season.
Yeah. All I know is I wasn't married 42 days before June 11th.
Good point. When is SEC Media Days for basketball, Luke?
It's coming up.
October 15th and 16th, I think, in Birmingham. Obie and I will be there per usual. And can't wait to hear what Joni Taylor and Bucky McMillan have to say.
Yep.
Birmingham's a good town. I like Birmingham.
They love the governor.
They got
Birmingham. They love the governor.
They got a Papados there.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Maybe Luke and I will visit there.
No, that's our thing.
Maybe Luke and I will visit there.
Well, Bucky McMillan and his staff have already promised to give us all the best food recommendations and places to go because, of course, they have been in Birmingham for a while. And I'm excited. There are a couple places we need to check out.
Yep. Now, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. McKinley Pulaski is in the house. Hello.
Good morning. How are y'all?
I'm well. How are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm excited for this weekend. Aggie football's back.
Aggie football is back. What do you have for us this morning?
After a successful weekend, Aggie volleyball is ranked number 13 in the AVCA rankings. They open SEC play this Wednesday, September 24th against Missouri at home. First serve set for 6 p.m. And this Friday, they take on Vanderbilt at 6:30 p.m. You can show your Auburn football game ticket for free entry to the game. Pack Reed.
So they went forever without playing at home. The past weekend, they had their Aggie Invitational. They swept all the sets. It was fantastic. Now the real fun begins.
It does. At some point, I'm going to have to get out there and watch them. You know, they're an exciting team. I gained a new appreciation for the sport.
Yeah.
I told you my niece played it. She doesn't anymore on those travel teams.
Yeah.
We went out to Vegas, and I never saw so many 6'4" high school girls in my life.
Right.
But it's a very athletic game, very precise.
Yeah.
I know if I was trying to play volleyball and someone was hitting the ball up for me to spike it, I would just the timing. I would probably, first of all, I'd miss it, and I'd probably end up with my hand in the net. And
it would be a disaster.
Yeah, it would be. I acknowledge it.
Yeah, you and me both.
It's a good game.
Let's get one more.
Yeah. The Texas A&M men's tennis team had a successful day in the qualifying round of the ITA All-American Championship at the University of Tulsa on Monday. Junior Kolo Montse heads to the round of 32, and senior Togan Tokak and junior Tiago Pires took down the number one seeded duo from UNC. The championship continues tomorrow with the singles round of 32 and doubles round of 16. Actually, it continues today.
Today.
Yes.
All right.
So if they win, will they be Tulsa Kings?
They will be the Tulsa Kings.
Yeah.
Good job, Stallone. Hey, I could see you taking the Tulsa King to 1775. I could totally see that.
Again, if you need to be rewarded, if you deserve to be rewarded, then that's a great reward.
How would he in his rocky voice talk about the food there?
Hey, yo, Adrian, I just got to tell you, 1775, barbecue, you know.
It's more Vinny Barbarino.
I know I can't. I don't do accents very well except for my own.
So, do you think he'd be all about the queso mac and cheese?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, Adrian, you got to have the queso mac and cheese.
You start off so well, and then you lose it.
All I got is yo, Adrian.
Hey, yo, Adrian.
Hey, yo, Adrian. Hey, Mr. Tiger, go get some 1775 barbecue.
How would he say succulent brisket?
Yo, Apollo, you said there wasn't going to be no rematch, but you can go get some 1775 barbecue, and then maybe you'll have a rematch.
1775 txbbq.com 979-492-6241. It's 1775.
And it's good.
Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
You know, I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas, it's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer. All right, we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are where?
We're in the Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
Yeah, inside of the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Yeah, we are. Jackson and Jason and the boys.
Yep, presented by the Warehouse of CC Creations. OB, let's do a little performance of the week. I'm going to let you, look, there's not a lot of Aggie football to talk about from this week, but we have some Aggie sports to get into. McKinley will help us with that. But college football, there were some nice performances.
Yeah, there was, and some hurt me. You know, I would have won a 3-team parlay, except I took Illinois. I don't know what I was thinking about putting my money on Brett Bielema, but that Indiana quarterback, Fernando Mendoza,
he's been balling.
I don't have his numbers on what he did in that 63-10 or whatever it was win, but I know McKinley Polanski does.
Popo, what do you got?
Sorry, pulling it up. Oh, yes. Fernando Mendoza had 267 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 7 carries.
For how many yards, those 7 carries?
4 yards.
4 yards.
Okay. 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns.
Yep.
By the way, do you like the nickname Popo? You can say no. It's okay. Yeah. Is it the first time anybody?
It's first time hearing it.
I don't know. It just came out.
Isn't that the
police?
Yeah, the police.
Yeah. Popo Polanski. Okay. I'm going to give you a couple of names.
All right.
How about Trinidad Chambliss?
What a great name that is.
That's a great name. Yeah. Sounds like a boxer or like an explorer. Like if you read that in a history book, you'd be like, oh yeah, that guy helped find America.
Yeah, he probably found Trinidad.
Yeah, that too. Trinidad Chambliss, 17 of 27, 307 yards, also rushed for 112 yards. Pretty darn good.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem for LSU this week if they start him.
If they start him.
That's going to be a great, great
How
mystery.
About the duo of Josh Hoover and Eric McAllister? Hoover threw for 379 yards for TCU and 5 touchdowns. Eric McAllister, by the way, first name basis, 254 of those yards and 3 touchdowns in their win over SMU.
Boy, and I'm talking about Hoover, had a big game against North Carolina.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to start thinking about him on the old Heisman radar.
And then, somebody did put Fernando Mendoza on here. Is that Luke that did that? Did you write that down there?
Nope. I think you magically put that on there.
Popo did it.
Yeah, Popo did it.
Cam Scadaboo, NFL guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I know they didn't beat the Chiefs. I get that. 10 carries, 60 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 8 targets, 6 receptions, 61 yards receiving. And he had that nice touchdown, and he did the backflip. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not.
He did like a Ronaldo celebration, then did a backflip afterwards. It was good to see.
I know that that Dan Campbell had a good night last night.
How about that?
Just by coaching his team to a big win over the Ravens.
That was a big win.
Did you see that excellent play they ran to on the goal line?
On the right-hand side, yeah.
I don't know why more teams haven't done. I've seen high schools do stuff like that, and it's awesome. Where if you didn't see it, he brings what's St. Brown's first name? Amar or something? Amon-Ra. And he hands off to him like it's going to be like a jet sweep.
Right.
But as the defense reacts to him, he options off to the real
Gibbs.
fast guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, who just outruns everybody to the corner. It was just an option play that was done instead of with a quarterback, done with a receiver.
I think Jahmyr Gibbs is an example of me being wrong. Do you remember when he got to Alabama?
From Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way he's going to be as good as the last guy. I forgot who the last guy was in front of him. And he ended up being pretty darn good. And it ended up he's been a really nice NFL player.
Really good. Can't coach speed.
Nope, you can't. McKinley, I know you got some Aggie stuff for us.
Yes, I do. Volleyball had a very successful weekend, like I said earlier. Logan Lednicki versus SLU had 11 kills. Emily Helmuth versus New Hampshire had 13 kills. She also had 13 kills versus LMU. Also, men's tennis, like I said, junior Colo Montsi heads to the round of 32 after defeating Luis Felipe Miguel from Florida State 6-4, 7-5. He will face Oklahoma transfer Lucas Andre da Silva of South Carolina tomorrow, and if he wins, he will move up to the main draw. Senior Togan Tokak and junior Tiago Pires took down the number 1 seeded duo of UNC in the doubles round. The duo goes against a duo from Georgia to secure a spot in the main draw.
I'll give McKinley credit for the
pronunciations.
Pronunciations.
Fantastic. Yeah. By the way,
I couldn't do it.
A&M cross country did not run this week. A couple weeks back, they did sweep team titles at the A&M Invitational. And I know that they'll be back in action here soon enough. So we'll be updating you all on what the A&M track and field team does. But they've had a nice start to their year. Let's hit a break. We'll come back. Charean the Dream Williams.
It's a nightmare right now
For the
Dallas
Cowboys
yeah.
and the Texans.
I think the Texans still have the chance to figure things out and go on a run.
They're already 3 games back in the South.
But I'm not saying they're going to win. I think they still have a chance to figure things out and have a decent season. I think the Cowboys. I've given up on them already. Well, we can discuss it with Charean.
We'll do that. Let's talk Paragon Financial Advisory for a moment. When it comes to your money, your peace of mind starts with the right team. And Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors is an independent fiduciary firm serving clients across Texas. No commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you. They have 18 professionals, including 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, and their expertise runs deep. At Paragon, credentials do matter, so does your future. Visit paragon-adv.com or call 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors. Integrity, expertise, trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. All right, we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Getting to the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline in a moment, but I did want to read a text real quick. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. McKinley?
Yes. Budgie Hughes says, David and Olin, it is great to listen to you and your takes on all things Aggies. I'm down Highway 6 in Baylor Scott and White Hospital recovering from cancer surgery. Listening to y'all is a great break from my recovery. I hope to make it to the Florida game, but in the meantime, I'll be tuned into TexAgs. Gig 'em.
Well, we'll be rooting for you to get to that Florida game and everything else.
Yeah, and Budgie, once you're ready to and are able, come by studio. We'd love to have you here, and maybe you can watch a little bit of the show with us and just hang out for a bit. So praying for you, bud. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's where we find Charean Williams, Pro Football Talk, Aggie Hall of Famer, and our dear friend Charean. Good morning.
Good morning. Always a pleasure to be on with you guys.
Love hearing from you as well. One of our favorite times of the week. Hey, so how are we feeling about this matchup against Auburn? The way I categorize it to OB is like, I want it to be personal for A&M. I want them to remember what happened last year, losing in triple overtime, a game that eventually cost you a chance to go to the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I hope they do take it that way, and I hope the veterans on the team explain exactly what happened. I hope they see film of what happened. The players who weren't on the team last year get to see that and how devastating that loss was. It was awful. Absolutely, it might be the worst loss of the year, frankly. A game that you just absolutely had to win, and you didn't get it done. So, yeah, I hope it is personal for them. I'm a little nervous about it. I know those receivers are really good. I didn't see what I expected to see out of Auburn against Oklahoma, but I have a feeling that Oklahoma's defense is very good. So we'll see. But those receivers are legit receivers. They're much like A&M's receivers. They can get it done.
How confident are you that A&M's offense is going to be able to continue to play and produce at the level that they have been when they play Auburn?
I think as long as they stay healthy, they can do that against anybody. I really do. I just like what they're doing offensively. I think the play calling is very good. I would like to see us break some runs, some long runs. I don't know that we've had that. We haven't run as much as I expected us to run, and probably haven't run as well as I expected us to run. But I think that will come, and I think there's going to be games that in the fourth quarter you're going to have to grind it out, or you're going to have that. You saw Detroit yesterday, grind it out at the end, try to put them away, and then you break the big one because you've worn them out the whole entire game with as much as you run the ball. And so I think that will come. But offensively, I just think with those receivers and the offensive line, the way it's playing, if you stay healthy, I think they can do that against anybody, including Texas, who has a very good defense, as we all know.
Charean, when you look at this matchup this weekend, I feel like it could be a differentiator weekend in the fact that, look, if you win, it doesn't guarantee anything. But it just proves that you are that team that when you play with a top 10 ranking and people come to Kyle Field, you know what to do. And also for Auburn, you could maybe just make their season a disaster, having them lose 2 in a row if you can win. And then they obviously have Georgia and Alabama left.
Well, and that's what they did to Notre Dame. They went out, took it to Notre Dame, 2 consecutive losses to start the season, and basically their season is pretty much over. I mean, they're going to try to make a run here and win the rest of them, but it's awfully hard to do. And, there's no room for error when you lose 2 and you lose too early. So A&M can do the same thing to Auburn this week. I hope they do. But it is, I talked on Friday about, people saying, that was a program-changing. It's only a program-changing win if you build on it. So you can't go out and lose to Auburn and then look back and say, well, Notre Dame was – you have to keep winning. And if you keep winning at the end of the season, yeah, I think you go back and you look at that as program-changing. But that Notre Dame win doesn't mean nearly as much if you go out and lose to Auburn. This is the biggest game of the season because it's the next game, as coaches like to say, and you absolutely have to win your SEC opener at home.
Yeah, you got to prove that you have a great team and not just had a great night. And so I agree with you 100%. So what would be the number one key in your mind to A&M winning this game?
Well, I think they're going to give up some explosive they're going to have to limit the number of explosive plays that they give up defensively. You can't all year long stay in these battles where you're having to score 40, 41 points to win. At some point, you got to make some stops. So, I think the key will be forcing some Auburn turnovers or forcing some, third downs are going to be big. Third downs and forcing some turnovers and getting the defense off the field, to me, is key, because I think the offense is going to be able to score. But how many is Auburn going to be able to score against you? They will score more than they scored against Oklahoma. But, you try to limit how many points you give them, because you know that your offense is going to be able to put up some points.
Charean, let's talk about some NFL teams in the state of Texas. I will let OB ask about the Cowboys, but the Texans 0-3, the offensive line not any better. C.J. Stroud looks like he's taken a step in the wrong direction. DeMeco Ryans doesn't have the same kind of effect that he had in year one, and certainly a little bit of year two. What's going on with the Texans?
Well, we were debating whether the Cowboys and Texans or the in Texas or the Giants and Jets in New Jersey have it worse. And it's a toss-up right now. But, yeah, it's not a great state for professional football, the way these teams are playing right at the moment. And Texans have a ton of problems. I didn't see a lot of these coming. We thought they rebuilt their offensive line. It was going to be better. It's not. The offensive play caller's not better. They made that change after the season. He hasn't been good. They haven't been able to run the ball. I mean, it's just, he's got one receiver basically to throw to. Christian Kirk came back for the first game. He'll get better as he goes along, but he didn't contribute very much. 25 yards, I think it was, on Sunday in that loss. And their defense is really good. I think if you could combine the Cowboys offense with the Texans defense, we'd have a really good team in Texas. But unfortunately, the Texans offense is going to go down as the way they're playing right now, as it stands right now, one of the worst in NFL history. Meanwhile, the Cowboys defense is going to go down as one of the worst in NFL history, the way they're playing right now. So it's just some tragic football in Texas at the pro level.
Charean, Jerry Jones said that he still thinks the Cowboys are a playoff team. Now, what's he seeing that I'm not? And is he seeing it because, I don't know, is he taking some psychedelic mushrooms? You tell me.
I don't see it. I do think they're pretty good offensively, but now you've lost CeeDee Lamb for 4 to 5 games, somewhere in that range, 3 to 4. It's a mild high ankle sprain. But he is going to miss time. He is going to miss multiple games. And so that's going to hurt your offense because he is your biggest playmaker. You do have George Pickens, so that's good, but beyond that, your receiving core is going to be hurt a little bit. And now Tyler Booker's out a while. So the injuries are starting to build up on the offense, and your defense just can't stop anybody. And love Donovan Wilson, but they got to get him out of there. He just is lost right now with what he's doing on the back end. He did have the interception against the Giants, but otherwise has not played very well the whole entire season. So they need to make changes defensively. Getting Jadeveon Clowney as an edge rusher is going to help some. He's not Micah Parsons, but he'll help more than what they have now. And getting Deron Bland back at corner is going to help some. Trevon Diggs looks like that knee's not right. He can't cover anybody. I don't see a playoff team. I see a team that, I said all along the easiest bet of the year I thought was the Cowboys over the 6.5 win mark. I'm not sure they get to 7 the way they're playing right now, because I had the Bears as one of those 7 games that they would win, and they were non-competitive.
Yep.
Charean, let's do Aggies in the NFL, shall we?
We shall. Well, let's give a shout out to Mike Evans. Has that little, hamstring injury. Don't know how long he'll be out, but he had his first touchdown of the year. 4 catches for 33 yards in that win. Bucks are 3-0. Now they haven't played anybody very good, but they are 3-0 at this point. We could probably put Edgerrin James. Edgerrin James. We would probably put Edgerrin Cooper in here every single week. So honorable mention to him, 4 tackles and a pass defense in that loss to the Browns. But number 3, Myles Garrett, he is on here every week. 6 tackles, a half a sack, a tackle for loss, a quarterback hit. Just played like Myles Garrett is playing and is right now the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. That Browns defense is legit. If you haven't seen it, the Packers certainly saw it and allowed the Browns to score 13 points in the final, 338 to upset the Packers. Huge win for the Browns. Number 2, Antonio Johnson of the Jags had the big interception, diving interception at the end of that game against the Texans to secure it. 3 tackles, a pass defense. He's playing pretty darn well. And number 1, Dan Campbell. I mean, if you watched the game last night, this was on late, but 4th down at basically midfield, and he goes for it late in the game, less than 2 minutes to play. 4th and 2, and throws a pass, and they convert. And Troy Aikman said he's got some big onions on him. So unbelievable the job he's doing in Detroit. They look bad in that Packers game to open. They've looked like the Lions the last 2 weeks, and he's doing just a great job, and everybody's talking about the job he's doing.
Hey, Charean, before I let you go, I wanted to make this comment. I saw a quote from Shedeur Sanders, and I've been kind of critical of him at times, but he was talking about how he really enjoys Scout Team, that it gives him 6 game days a week or 5 game days a week, as opposed to being, and it just his view on it, I thought was very refreshing. Have you heard much about how his time in Cleveland is going?
Yeah, he's down on the depth chart, and he's probably not going to play this year, but it's going to be a learning year for him. And some quarterbacks need that. Probably all quarterbacks need that, frankly, and I think they'd be better off. I think Cam Ward would probably be better off if he could sit and watch for a year, but that's not how those things work. When you're a first-round draft pick, you're usually in there right away. And I think Jackson Dart's a perfect example of a guy who's going to get to sit and watch a few weeks, and he could end up starting this week. I've said all along I thought he would start week 5 next week against the Saints. I still think he will. I think he's ready. You talk about playoff teams, Olin. I think the Giants could be a playoff team if they get Jackson Dart in there over Russell Wilson. I really do. I think he's the missing link for that team. That's another good defensive team that just needs, when they're not playing the Cowboys, they don't look very good offensively, under 200 yards passing in the other 2 games that they've had, 450 against the Cowboys. So if they get Jackson Dart in there, I think they could be. But back to your point, David, it's going to be a year for him to learn and grow, and I'm glad he's embracing that. It doesn't surprise me the way he grew up, and I think he's going to be better off for it. I think he'll be a better quarterback this point next year.
Charean, great stuff as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back, read some text messages, and get OB's final thoughts here on the Go Hour. When insurance matters most, who's going to answer your call? That's the Rollo Insurance Group. They are my insurance provider. There are many people who work at TexAgs insurance provider, and they are the official insurance provider of TexAgs Live. The difference is real. They've got 60 offices across the great state of Texas, but as you know, their headquarters is right here on in College Station on Highway 6. They're fantastic. Whether it's home, auto, or business or ranch, start a relationship with experts who put you first. Your agent becomes familiar with your specific situation, and they provide a customized plan that mass market insurers simply cannot match. That's the Rollo difference, and the difference is real. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Chance on the YouTube page says that Florida's going to go after Dabo.
I would have thought Florida would go after Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin would be my first call.
Yeah.
Somebody asked if Lane would be more inclined to go to Florida or UCLA, and I said Florida 10 times out of 10.
He is a California guy, but
UCLA?
I think the chance to win at a high level is much greater at Florida than it is UCLA.
Although he could make UCLA cool. He could.
I could see him fitting there, but man, do you really want to go to a place with an off-campus stadium that you got 100,000 seats and probably sometimes 30,000 people there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lane, it's hard to figure out what Lane's going to do. I think if you want to coach.
Easier to win in the SEC with Florida than it is to win in the Big Ten with UCLA.
I agree.
Even though the SEC is much deeper.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good football players in Florida, and if you can, I still think he's the perfect fit for Miami, but they're doing all right, so they're not going to be looking for a coach. But I know if I was the coach at Florida, the athletic director of Florida, Kiffin would be my number one target.
Yeah, I agree. Luke Evangelist has got a stat for us that so far is very interesting, Luke.
Yeah, if you look at the top 7 transfer portal classes from last year, that's LSU, Texas Tech, Miami, Ole Miss, Oregon, Florida State, and Missouri. Those teams are a combined 27-0 this season. A&M is 11th in that 2024 transfer, or I guess 25 transfer portal class rankings from last offseason.
I'd be interested what those rankings are or those stats are at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. Most of those teams have had one big game.
Yeah, and even like Missouri, I don't mean to always crack on Missouri, but their big game, their big opponent, their tough opponent,
Kansas,
is Kansas. And that was a 3-point game till late in the game. So I don't know how good Kansas is, but to Luke's point, good teams, they're smart, and they supplement their roster through the transfer portal, which is something Dabo Swinney's going to have to learn to do.
Well, and the Missouri did it at multiple positions. Their running back,
good running back from
their
ULM,
quarterback
from Penn State.
So to me,
some receivers.
When you make that kind of seismic shift to your team, I would have picked Dabo's method before I would have picked Missouri having to restart everything and equate success.
I wonder what it probably wouldn't be. They probably wouldn't be 1-3, but I do wonder what Missouri's record would be had they played
Clemson's
schedule.
And I wonder what Clemson's record would be if they would have started the season off with a different game, because I think that game against LSU just really took a lot out of them. Because they should be able to. Who did they play in week 2?
They played Troy.
Troy, yeah. They had to come back in the second. They were down 16-0, something like that at the half. So, OB, fun hour, buddy. Thank you. When we come back on TexAgs Live, Josh Pate will join us. We'll chit-chat with Josh about all things college football, of course, with a major focus on Texas A&M Auburn. That and more. It's TexAgs Live.
All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals that make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them. 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables.
This has been a challenging week when it comes to reading ads. Milliken Reserve Pumpkin Palooza one is one of my favorites, but I say the word pumpkin many times. In this upcoming interview with Josh Pate, he's got some really good copy from Academy Sports and Outdoors. Huddle up, tailgate season is here, and there's no better place to gear up than Academy Sports and Outdoors. Want a grill that says my barbecue is just as good as my smack talk? They've got you. A cooler that screams I hold 47 cans to keep my cool. Even in overtime, they've got that as well. And fan gear that says I score more style points than a football spinning, backflipping, funky chicken touchdown dance. Academy has it as well at undefeatable prices because here, the fun can't lose. And with that, we go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Josh Pate with us. What's up, Josh?
He is a big partner of mine as well, and you know that I have to do one of those reads. Excuse me, I get to do one of those reads every show. Now, I convinced them to just let me ad-lib it. However, I may just have you send me that ad copy on over. I may just go with that verbatim tonight and challenge myself. I want to top David Nuño. At the very least, I want to pull even with him, because if you're even with Nuño, you're doing pretty good in life.
Well, buddy, I will send it your way, and I look forward to watching that. How are so, for us, we usually start with A&M, but I almost feel like with A&M having the bye week, I don't know if we start with A&M. So we start with Auburn, which is basically starting with A&M. What'd you see from them in a game where they could have easily beat Oklahoma, but it did not work out for them?
Yeah, it pretty much played out how I thought it would. Now, I will say this. You got to be very careful just in college football in general. Auburn happens to be one of these teams. A&M's kind of one of the teams I'm about to describe. You got to be careful pigeonholing teams or defining teams, I guess, first quarter to third of the season, because a lot of them get in what I call ascension mode, and that's where you just hit a different gear. You start improving as a team. Everyone wants to get in that mode. That's the whole goal. So I think Auburn has that potential. I think they may even be doing that a little bit, but for the Oklahoma game, it was pretty obvious to me there was not going to be much of a rhythmic nature to their offense. They weren't going to put together a bunch of 12-play drives. What they were going to have to do is throw the ball up, let big wide receivers win fights on the outside. They're going to have to manufacture a ground game, which they didn't really develop the ability to do all afternoon. Brent Venables was not going to let them win with QB run, which they did against Baylor. And so it was really up to them to find points. And they were there. I mean, as you saw, as you pointed out, they were there. And then the officiating becomes the story. I think the real story is they lost a game they could have won, which happens all the time, but now it puts them in really close to a must-win mode here. If they lose in College Station Saturday, they're 0-2 in conference, just right off the bat. And I think about the desperation mode they're in. I think about a back-to-back road spot. I think about coming in there and playing a rested Texas A&M, and it was always a talking point for me during the spring and summer about schedule. Auburn at Oklahoma was such a hinge game, because if they won it, they're off to the races. If they lost it, it was going to put them in desperation mode in a really bad scheduling dynamic spot the very next week, and that's where they are. And so here we go, my friend. Here we go.
Well, Josh, I also think for A&M, this game does not determine what happens this season, but I want to see how they handle success, which was a problem, in years past. How they handle being a team in the top 10, a team that comes off an emotional win. You'd get that bye week with I think was good for A&M because of the emotional win. Now we get to find out how they handle success.
Yeah, I also think these seasons with 2 bye weeks, obviously you don't really choose where your bye is, but it can really help out a team that's still finding itself. Because with A&M, they have not won those games. They have not won games like at Notre Dame. So when you win it, and you happen to have one of those byes placed there, it's really advantageous. I mean, you put the bye to use, as I say, in that you don't have to tell your guys, hey, come down off this within 24 hours. It's okay to let them enjoy it a little bit. It's completely fine. But then you also have ample time to yank that hot air balloon back to earth when the time comes, point out all the mistakes, point out how this, that, and that will bite us down the road if we don't correct it. And it's just so nice to be able to have 13 days to do that. So I'd be very surprised if we turned on that game Saturday and we're sitting there saying, boy, look at this hangover. Boy, look, these guys read their own press clippings, that old saying. I doubt that. Now, it's possible that Auburn comes in there, plays their tail off, it's a dogfight, and there's just not a lot of separation between the teams, Auburn wins. That's possible. I don't think it's going to happen because the Notre Dame outcome made people a little too complacent around there. I very strongly doubt that.
So where do you think A&M has the advantage against Auburn?
Well, so they're multiple offensively, and I come out of the Notre Dame game still thinking to myself, you know what, if A&M really has to grind out a game, they can do it. I don't expect them to have to score 40 every win they get this year. This may be the kind of game that profiles like that, but there's also, that's the A scenario. The B scenario is maybe Jackson Arnold did find himself a little bit. Maybe there is a little more business to be had against the A&M secondary, and maybe it is another game where A&M has to start doing that. If they have to start doing that, I think that people really need to pay attention to the potential wide receiver matchup you have in this game. I mean, because you got studs on both sides, and you got takeover ability. We've already seen it from both teams on both sides of this equation. So I think A&M has more ways to dictate the tempo of the game, to dictate the pace of the game. It's why I would slightly lean them in the game. But I also think that I feel kind of the same way as the Notre Dame game. Like if you told me going into it, you're going to get a 21-19 outcome here, wouldn't have shocked me. I think it mildly shocked me that it played out the way it did, but then watching it with revisionist history, I get it. I could see this game going the same way. I could see a very low score profile. I could see a very high score profile. The difference is normally when you say that, David, you're comfortable one way, uncomfortable the other way. I'm actually comfortable with Texas A&M playing in both styles of games.
Josh, my audience has gotten used to me talking about this kind of point, so just bear with me for a moment. But last year and many years, you would read one thing about a team. All right, Lenore Sellers was just sacked 5 times. You know, that offensive line is terrible. You're thinking to yourself, all right, we're going to go after them. A&M versus Notre Dame. Brand new offensive line. Last year, talking about 24. Brand new offensive line. Nick Scorton and company are going to go to town. Didn't get to Riley Leonard. Other ones, Peyton Thorne. Horrible against A&M a couple years ago. Last year, throws for over 300 yards. Looks like Joe Montana. So I say all that to you to set this up. Oklahoma had the 9 sacks against Auburn. How does that translate for potentially what A&M does? Because in my mind, I'm like, it doesn't translate because it always goes the opposite of what I think.
Yeah, every time I see this emphatic result, a stat category that jumps off the page, that's what your mind goes to. So in that one, you mentioned it. It was OU living in the backfield. So the thing that's hard, one of the many things that's hard about predicting sports, predicting college football, is when you see something happen the previous week, your mind says, oh, that is the norm. That is a thing that's going to carry over. Well, in the real world, you're paying a bunch of coaches a whole lot of money. You recruited ultra-talented players. When something emphatic happens, whether it's good or bad, but especially if it's bad, that's where the focus is all week. And a bunch of really talented, really capable people focusing on a same bad thing all week sometimes leads to an opposite result the next week. That makes sense. It's just you kind of have to see it to believe it. Well, here's the problem with that. Also, if someone sacks you 10 times, most of the time there is a sentence that you can say, well, our offensive line's terrible, or, well, our quarterback just held the ball way too long. He froze in the pocket. And you want to assign blame in one sentence. Well, that is not the case as far as I could see it with that Auburn-Oklahoma game. There were some times where O-line let him down. There were some times where, candidly, I just thought Jackson Arnold held the ball too long. And you go back, watch all 22 end zone, and you can see there are guys open. I just don't know that he can work past his first read and progression. And that's something that you can never really truly know unless you know what the play call was, unless you know what the design was and whatnot. But watching what we're able to watch, I wonder if Brent Venables wasn't good enough to take that first read and a progression away and then just count on the fact that he's not advanced enough to be able to work his way down and work his way through that progression chart. And by the time he does, we'll be there. Because that's what happened pretty much all night. And to answer your question, what would happen if A&M were put in that position? They'd do the exact same thing. A&M has the exact same ability to do that. So especially if Auburn doesn't get a better ground game going, I don't think they just magically cleaned that up in 1 week, because I don't magically think a quarterback develops that much in 7 days.
Josh, I'm older than you, so I don't know. Did you watch the show 90210 when you were growing up, or were you too young for that?
I was a little bit too young for it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make a terrible comparison, but I feel like what's happening with Lane Kiffin and Whit Weeks and his daughter Landry, it could be taken from an episode of 90210 or whatever the kids are watching today. I'm not smart enough to understand what's happening here. Is Landry trolling her dad, or is she trolling Whit Week? Can you help me understand what's happening?
Short answer is no, I really can't. This is something that has to occur to you in your own time. I would go with maybe 9021 Bro for the title to this whole thing. I believe, as best we can tell, David, and I know everyone is waiting with bated breath for the next chapter in this saga, as far as we can tell, there's either a brilliant psyop or complete treachery being orchestrated by Lane Kiffin's daughter, who has waited until the week of the Ole Miss LSU game to reveal via social media that she is dating LSU's linebacker, Whit Weeks. And so you can look at this one of two ways. And again, I leave it up to interpretation. You can either think about this as brilliant 4D chess, or you could look at it as daddy issues, and I'm going to get back at him by any means necessary. And frankly, all of it makes sense to me, and none of it makes sense at the same time. I know Thanksgiving's eventually coming. Actually, that's during the season, so that wouldn't matter. But, I mean, eventually, there's a family get-together coming, wherein she brings him around, and they're all sitting at the same table. And conversation about this game and about the lead-up to this game has to happen. And that's really what I'd pay to see, more so than even the game itself. That's really the dynamic I'd like to be a voyeur to.
Well, I look at this game beyond the drama, and I'm having a hard time with it because I think LSU is that good. And then I'm like, but the Clemson game, I'm overvaluing that game. What have they really done? And then I look at Ole Miss. I'm like, I thought they'd take a step back. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They seem to be moving. I don't know how to, and they're at home. How do you see this game playing out?
I am excited to see LSU face a really legitimate passing attack. And apparently it doesn't even matter which quarterback Ole Miss rolls with. The statement is valid. I'm excited to see that, because really what happens in college football a lot of times is defenses will get a reputation, and sometimes it's authentic, and then sometimes it's just born through the fact that they haven't played anybody. I think about some Notre Dame teams in the past. They don't play a high-level, multiple offensive attack, and then they do, and they get exposed. In the old days, that would happen with the Big Ten. They just play Wisconsin 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and they look dominant, and then they face an actual passing attack, and you realize, oh, it's just a bunch of stocky linebackers. They can't really move. So that is not LSU. LSU is ultra-athletic. So I doubt that anyone's going to really put them in a blender defensively, but you don't have to put them in a blender. What if you score 27 on them? I mean, what if Ole Miss scores 27? Well, then the follow-up is Garrett Nussmeier 100%? Can that offense score 30 if it needs to right now against a high-level opponent on the road? Because they didn't need to against Clemson, and that's credit to their defense. They didn't need to against Florida. Again, that's credit to their defense. And if they're going to get Trinidad Chambliss to toss 5 picks, then so be it. But you can't just count on that every week. So this is a really good test for them. I also wonder about the Ole Miss side of things. That offensive line hadn't been tested like this yet. That offensive line hadn't had a defensive front that can get after them. And so for all that good-looking rhythm they've had offensively, well, someone could crowbar all that. And that someone could be LSU. I feel like out of all these big matchups this weekend, that one's one of the toughest to get a read on, because each one has a pretty defined strength that has not truly been put to the test against quality competition, and it's going to happen 2 ways Saturday.
Who do you think is the best story in the SEC? What program, and why is it Vanderbilt? Sorry for answering for you.
Well, it definitely is Vanderbilt. And I think the answer there is pretty obvious. I mean, I live in Nashville, so they're selling out their games with their fans, which sounds commonsensical to people in College Station. It's not. They've never done it here. Anytime Vanderbilt Stadium's been sold out, it's because Georgia's in town, and all of their fans just look for a good weekend in Nashville, and they come sell it out, like 80% road fans. Well, Vanderbilt is selling their stadium out. Vanderbilt has one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and everyone knows he'll never play on Sunday. Like, everyone knows this is a college football story, and that's where it ends. And that's great because some of us love college football first and foremost. You've got a head coach there in Clark Lee, whose name would be at the forefront for any coaching opening, except for the fact that his representation's not floating his name because he doesn't want to leave. I think it's crazy that we've got Vanderbilt doing something that's historic. I don't think they've never done this. They've never been relevant to this degree for this prolonged a period of time. And if they were, history shows the head coach would be on the first thing smoking out of Nashville. Clark Lee's not even looking to leave because he has a unique attachment to the program. So you got all that happening. But I would also ask you this, David, like if we were to remove Vanderbilt or set them on their own shelf, on the next shelf, I'd say Missouri is a pretty good story as well. Because Missouri's sitting there under Eli Drinkwitz, and I was just watching them. Like, I just paused them to talk to you. And I really think people are still underrating what they are because they haven't played a high-level opponent either. Because I don't think most of the country watched them play South Carolina. They won't watch them until Alabama comes in there in a couple of weeks, which, by the way, Missouri's off a bye, welcoming Alabama at home before that. Just FYI, just a little heads up. So they went and got Bo Perbula from Penn State, and it's gotten to the point now where Penn State folks are sitting there openly speculating about whether they let the wrong quarterback walk away. That's how good Perbula has been as they've watched him. He's a perfect fit in Eli's offense. Ahmad Hardy, if he were doing what he's doing on the ground for Texas or for Oklahoma or for USC, would be in the Heisman conversation right now. They also hit on the portal at linebacker. Like, they just don't swing and miss very often there. They're a place that knows they can't afford to, and they don't. And they look good. Again, I think they're better to significantly better than I expected them to be, and I didn't think they'd be bad.
Josh, last thing for you. I remember talking to you in the offseason. You were pretty high on Miami. Have they exceeded your expectations?
Yeah, they have. They are, yes is the answer. However, let's also say the same thing about them that we just said about LSU. All right, let's see them against a pretty high-level, potent passing attack because we haven't seen that either. Now, they've beaten Notre Dame in Florida, and that's wonderful. They beat USF. That's great. Those are three quality opponents. I'm not taking anything away. I actually want them to do good because I want to be right about something at least. But we got to make sure this is not the NFL. In the NFL, you face another pro team every week. So once you get 4 weeks of sample size under your belt, you're going to have a really good read on every team. It's a case-by-case thing in college football. And the other part about the Miami dynamic is let's say they are exactly what they look like they are. And I think they are, by the way. I'm not doubting them. But even if they are that, all right, they go to Tallahassee next Saturday, which is going to be a war. After that, they're going to be a double-digit favorite pretty much the rest of the way. And my concern for them is if they are as good as we think they are, no one's going to test them. And it's one thing if you're Kirby Smart in Georgia and no one's going to test you because I don't doubt that place knows what excellence is about. They understand what the standard is about. They understand attention to detail. Miami doesn't have guys that have been there. Their roster hadn't been there. Their coaching staff collectively hadn't been to that level. And what can happen is you can go down that list of the final 6 or 7 games they're going to play, double-digit favorites. You can win with your B-minus game. And what can happen is bad habits can be allowed to creep in. Little bits of lack of attention to detail can creep in, which will not bite you, all due respect, against most of their remaining schedule. What can happen is you get in the playoff and it's a cattle prod to your neck when you face Ohio State, when you face Georgia, when you face Oregon. Because I can promise you they're not dropping the ball. I can promise you they're not letting the rope go any. That would be my hypothetical concern about Miami above and beyond just, is the personnel what we think it is? Is that defense really that legit? Absolutely it is. They're the best team I've seen so far this year. But that doesn't guarantee anything because Ohio State was good last year. They lost 2 games in the regular season. So I don't think that this thing's just written in pen yet. And that's from someone who's looking for every reason to write Miami in pen.
Josh, great stuff, man. Talk to you next week, buddy.
Appreciate it, David.
Later, man. Josh Pate on the Buckbees.
Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll talk a little bit of A&M football with Jair Brooks-Davis of KBTX. He's new to the area, so we're going to chit-chat with him, get his thoughts on how things are developing for A&M. Right now, though, when it comes to preserving your farm or your ranch's legacy, it's not about capturing pretty pictures. It's about capturing the essence of your land and sharing that for the next generation. And that's what Chance McClain does with Heritage Films. He is just a wizard when it comes to telling people's story. He could tell your family ranch story, your family farm story, and pass that down to the next generation and the generation after that. He can also tell your dad's story, your uncle's story, your family business's story. What Chance does is these documentary films, 2-hour documentary films for families. And it's something that's very impactful, and Aggies love telling their story. And that's why most of his clients are Aggies, not just because he's on TexAgs, but because Aggies really care about telling that story and sharing that story for the next generation. And I think it's a perfect fit for all families that listen to TexAgs. The website is yourheritagefilm.com. yourheritagefilm.com. Call them up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Got Jair Brooks-Davis with us here from KBTX, who's been in the market for what? 5 weeks, 6 weeks?
I'm going to have to say 2 months. I started last week of July, as a matter of fact. So very, very quick turnaround.
Yeah. So how's it been?
It's been amazing. I enjoy College Station. I love the fact that I get to be an hour away from Houston. It's been amazing so far, and I'm very grateful to be here.
So let's before we get into Aggie football talk, kind of tell me about your journey here. I learned during the break you worked at the MLB network. But the football side of things has really hit when you came to Texas, right?
Yes, it did. I started my on-air broadcasting career back in Midland, Odessa, Texas, 2 hours south of Lubbock, which is where Texas Tech is actually located. So I got to experience Friday Night Lights in that area. And don't forget, Odessa, Texas is the home of Friday Night Lights. So I got to experience that for 3 football seasons. Then I got to cover some high school athletes that ended up making it to the Division I level, too.
Did you watch the movie before or the show, either one?
I watched the movie and the show once I got to Midland, Odessa. Yeah.
Did it feel like, all right, I get it now? Did the watching that kind of help you kind of integrate yourself to that area?
I would just say being a man within the community is what helped integrate me within the community. But I do understand their passion for high school football over there, and it still carries on to this day. Even from the 1980s all the way up until the 2020s, it still carries on.
Am I right? The MLB network also is where the NHL network is. Don't they share like the facility or the same management structure?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. You have, when it comes to the editing process, you have Diamond, which is for baseball, and you have Diamond on Ice, which is for hockey too. And I did cover hockey back when I was in undergrad, back in college too.
Do the hosts do both? I mean, I know the baseball specific guys don't, but do some of the hosts do both networks?
It depends on the host. It depends on the host. I don't know their exact team roster right now, but I know back when I was there was some guys that would do
crossover.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the SEC. What have you learned? What have you noticed about it?
Well, the SEC, it is pretty much like covering pro sports. When I actually took the job over at KBTX, a lot of people were telling me, it's practically like you're practically covering professional sports. But the SEC, it's pretty interesting this year. You have OU, you have Texas that, has been, especially after the Ohio State game, and Texas A&M, of course, going off to a 3-0 start. The transfers doing what they've been able to do. And I think that the horizon is very, very bright for the Aggies, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they got to take care of business this weekend and beyond, because we've seen what a good start looks like. What do you think what concerns you about Auburn and how they'll attack A&M?
Well, what concerns me about Auburn, especially actually going off of what happened last year, Auburn got off to a very, very hot start against Texas A&M. I believe that the score was 21-0 in favor of the Tigers, right?
Yep.
So one thing that has concerned me a little bit about Texas A&M is getting off to, a slow start. I feel like against Notre Dame, even though it was 7-0, it felt like...
It did feel that, yeah.
Yeah, it did feel like the Fighting Irish had a whole lot of momentum. So I just think that Texas A&M needs to come out ready to go from the first minute of... Once kickoff goes off, once kickoff starts, excuse me. So I think that Texas A&M just needs to be ready, and, they're always ready to battle. They're always, to me, they're willing to weather the storm.
Yeah, I think you bring up a point that I probably should be hitting on more. Against Auburn, against Texas, against South Carolina. Against South Carolina, they fell behind 17-0. Against Auburn, 21-0. They drove on Texas, weren't able to score. Against Notre Dame, it was very close to being 10-0, 14-0, and getting off to a fast start against them. Where do you think the Aggies have excelled?
I think that the Aggies have excelled, especially when it comes to the wide receiving core with Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. And that is very cliche, I think, at this point right now for me to say. But also, I do have to say that they did excel well in the transfer portal. I hope that, and we're going to be meeting with Terry Bussey today during practice. One thing that I do want to ask him is, how has Casey and Mario rubbed off on him too? And I think that for the wide receivers to be able to connect with Marcel and expand more in that passing game, of course, that is, I think, the hugest difference maker. And plus, of course, don't forget about the transfer of Nate Borkature as well too. And I'm sure that he brings a lot of positivity and leadership to the receiving core, and of course the tight ends as well.
I think KC's one that's interesting because I don't think we've had that KC moment just yet, right? Where that moment, like that game where he goes for 110, 130, but he's been so good. It's just the fact that Mario Craver has also been so good that we sometimes forget about what Bussey's done or what KC's done.
Well, don't forget, KC, he had a huge first down reception right in front, like right on the 1 yard line against Notre Dame that led to the Le'Veon Moss touchdown too. So that was pretty clutch as well. I would put that so far in KC's top moments, of course, with the punt return touchdown. But KC, he's gonna have that breakout game where everyone's gonna say, you know, there you go, like maybe 4 touchdowns. Yeah, that's my estimation.
I mean, 4 touchdowns would be fantastic. They're not losing that game. All right, so give me the big 3. What are the 3 things that you want to see this weekend that this Auburn game comes down to?
Well, yesterday, Coach Elko, he was talking about the secondary with guys like Will Lee and Des Ricks of how they're going to have to step up. So, you know, going up against Notre Dame, you know, the defense was a little bit concerning for Texas A&M, but I'm very positive that they have the tools to go ahead and, you know, get it fixed heading into the Auburn game. And then another person that I expect to see step up is Cassius Howell, especially with the weakness of Auburn's offensive line too. So hopefully we can see a Cassius Howell sack trick, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed just to see that. And then, you know, what also concerns me is just Scooby Williams. I hope to see him out there as well too. You always want that leadership out there on defense. But I am fully confident that Texas A&M could pull it out. And plus, why not get revenge against Auburn at Kyle Field?
Well, and I just noticed everything you said there was all defense, right? So it sounds like you're not really worried about what A&M's offense is going to be able to do against Auburn.
I am fully confident in what A&M's offense is able to do against Auburn, and I'm sure that Marcel Reed is ready to go and get that revenge as well too.
Nice job, Jair. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was
going to say appreciate you having me.
Yeah, come back too. When we come back here on TexAgs Live, Jamie Morrison will be joining us. We'll chit-chat about Aggie volleyball and SEC play, but before we hit a break, Aggieland hydration and injectables. If you've been out to a festival, a concert, all day at the soccer fields because your kids are playing, whatever it may be, and you're feeling kind of low and you need some help, let Aggieland Hydration and Injectables take care of you. They're a mobile IV hydration company. They got to this area just a couple years ago. Sheldon and Danny run it. They're fantastic. And they have awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and weight loss options. So if you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. So on that busy weekend, let them take care of you. They'll give you the necessary vitamins and minerals. They want to make sure that you understand that they bring a personalized, accessible wellness option to everybody here in the Brazos Valley. To book an appointment or inquire about their services, what you need to do is call them up or text them, 979-217-1561, 979-217-1561. It is Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. And we're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Jamie Morrison hanging out here in studio, talk a little Aggie volleyball. So we had some home cooking, right?
Yeah,
like it's nice to be able to sleep in your own beds and play in front of your fans, right?
Oh, yeah, no, it was amazing. And I think I said last time when I was on the air, I don't remember what being at home feels like. And I think leading into that, there were a couple things that happened. I think we were over at Rudy's for a little bit, and all of a sudden we had people cheering for that. And I'm like, whoa, people like us.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool experience. And I've said it before, just playing in front of the 12th man is amazing. We moved the student section over to the TV side, and just I think that's added some new energy on the bench also. And it was a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, fun and a lot of energy behind it. So let's look at the non-conference overall.
Yep.
I know there was a couple days that not the results we wanted, but just taking a step back, how do you feel the non-conference went?
I think it went well. You look at it, and you're 8-2 coming out of that, and you're sitting in a good spot for the postseason. And the two matches, like we laid an egg on one of them, and I wasn't happy with it. We addressed the things that we got to upgrade, and it wasn't anything that was, I don't know, rocket science. It was we didn't play the game the way we were supposed to play it, and the way that we talk about playing it, and the way that we've talked about our identity being. But I think the thing I said the last time when I was on the air, and I think the thing that I'll continue to reiterate, is I like the response that we had that next night. I like the response leading into last weekend. And I think that's the reason why you saw 3 sets or 3 matches that were 3-0, but really dominant. And the times that we started to falter a little bit, I took a time out and the team responded. And we talk a lot about response. And our sport is that. It's a very momentum-based game where if you can respond like this, you're going to be the best team. So,
does a coach, and I think the answer is no, but I'll ask anyway. Does a coach look at the schedule like, all right, if we come out of this 7-3, we're in a good spot, heading into conference play? Do you look at it that way, or is it really like, look, it's a tough schedule. I'm going to worry about one match at a time.
I said with that 4-game, I think I even said it on the air with you, if we come out of that undefeated, that's impressive. So I don't think it's I want this record when I leave. Like, I want to win. Like, I don't know. I was asked something yesterday, like, tell me about the non-con. I hate losing. Mm-hmm. So you brought up those 2 losses. Like, I don't like those. I especially don't like the way we lost the SMU match. But I'll take, and this is going back to the way that I compete, I'll take the TCU match. Like, we played our style of volleyball. I thought we were a little gassed at the end of that 4-game stretch. It just hurt because it was added on to the SMU game. So, like, I'll take a game like that. And even if we had lost both of those playing the way that we're supposed to play, I'd be like, hey, we just got to get to work. But when you're not doing the things that you've worked to go be on the court, that's the hard piece. So, no, I don't necessarily leave with, I don't know, we start off the season, if we can make it out of this 9-1, I'd like to be 10-0. And I think we're at a point with this program where we can go do that.
I always ask you about psychology because I'm just curious the way your mind works. So I feel it sometimes a misstep, whatever that may be, a loss, something, is the best way to get better. Because it's hard to get better when things are going like, if you're winning everything, but you're seeing like a trend not go the way you want it, it's hard to kind of coach. Am I right?
Yes. Like, you're always going to learn more from heartbreak. Like, this is just the same in life. Like, we don't make drastic changes in our life, like health-wise, until you have like a cardiac arrest. And you're like, man, I need to change. Like, it's the same thing. Like, whenever you have heartbreak, that's the fastest way to go make change. But I will say, I think, I don't know, the greatest coaches are undefeated. It's not like they're having losses to go teach those things. It's you're able to hold people accountable to that every single day to go do those things. And you're able to bring people into your program that want to be held accountable in that way because they want to win. So I think there's a combination between those two things. Yes, like 100%. You're going to learn more from a loss. You're going to learn more from getting hurt. But at the same time, like, if you're going to be great, you have to want to go put yourself through that hard thing in order to get the win at the end. You have to be able to, I don't know, push your team to be able to go through those hard things to get the thing you want at the end. And that's the difference between being good when you're going to lose some games and being great. And that's kind of where we're trying to push this program to right now.
Talk to me about Missouri in this matchup.
They're a good volleyball team. When I took over, I don't know, this program, part of me coming into this program and this conference was I saw what the SEC could be. I saw adding Texas and Oklahoma in terms of instant upgrades. Texas is one of the best programs in the country and has been for a long time. I thought I could do some pretty special things here. And I also looked at Missouri, and I looked at that job being open. It was hired after I was hired of whoever takes that job needs to get Missouri back to where it was also. And I think if you look at what the SEC is today, and it's one of the best volleyball conferences in the country, it's because of what was here, and I think what's been built. And Dawn's done that at Missouri the same way that I've done that here. And I think all the credit to her and her staff. They've done an amazing job. So well-coached team. They have a couple transfers that came in that add some physicality to what they're doing. And they'll be a handful. They pass well, they serve well, they play the game at a high level. I think their libero is probably, I don't know, like the year one. I rarely say like I felt like I got beat by a libero. Year one in that match, it was just any ball that was in her part of the court was coming up off the floor. Any pass that went over that way was getting on the middle of the court and like passed well. And she finds a way to add value to their team. So a really, really good volleyball team. I think we're really good. I think it'll be an epic battle.
I'm actually interested in going a little deeper on to the libero because my daughter's now playing it for the first time. Why are they such an essential piece to winning, but sometimes forgotten?
Because they need to be a rock. So they need to be the person that's on the floor that's consistent. And if they're really good, people aren't going to go to them very often. So like from a service standpoint, people aren't going to serve them very often. From a defensive standpoint, again, Maya Sands, there was times I was like, keep the ball away from her. There's one player internationally I was coaching with the Olympics, like Brenda Castillo played for Dominican Republic, was the same way. It was like any ball that went in that direction, you're like, man, we have to stop doing that as much. So I think they're really good at what they do, and because of that, you're going to try to play keep away. So it's all of a sudden like you're not actually noticing them as much and how good they are because they're not the person that you can set the ball 35 times. Like you don't get to dictate what they get to do. So I think because of that, like they're supposed to be consistent. They're not necessarily like, and I think the best liberos are the ones that are, consistently good, not the ones that make it look spectacular because they're standing in the wrong spot and flying all over the court. Like the ones that are really, really good are just standing there saying thank you over and over again. So it's a really undervalued position on the court.
As you're describing that, I'm thinking of like Darrelle Revis in the NFL years back. Like sometimes the numbers weren't great because people just avoided throwing to him, right? It's the same kind of thing.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably exactly like that. If you look at like a defensive back or something along those lines, people are going to go the other direction every single time. That person's really good.
Right.
And if all of a sudden, like every single time, it's only when he fell down or something, they're throwing that direction, the numbers might not tell the whole story. So, but yeah, it's very similar.
And Vanderbilt, I know you probably don't like to look too much ahead, but just talk to us about
Vanderbilt. I haven't scouted them yet. I think the coolest story there is just it's the first time they've had a volleyball program in 42 years. And I think it's a cool thing. I think ESPN or somebody did the 30-minute thing on just building that program, and it's cool. And Anders is a good friend, and I think he's going to do a great job. But man, imagine that, taking over with 0 players. And all of a sudden, you had some players that bought into what they were doing last year, and they've been practicing without matches for a full year, and like how hard that is. And then all of a sudden, they had some transfers come in, and like they're going right now and learning as they go with the first-year head coach. And I think he's doing a great job. I think he's built like as good of a program as you can in year one, and that'll be a battle as well. They're playing good volleyball. They took Kansas, who's in the top 25-5 in their first game, and have been a little up and down in the non-con, but like have really pushed some good volleyball teams. So I think that'll be an epic battle. And both of those, like we have some promotions going on. If anybody was at Fish Camp and you're a freshman, like bring your Fish Camp shirt. That's free tomorrow. And then Friday, anybody that has a football ticket, come on in, and it's a free admission to come. And I think it's if people are in town to watch that Auburn game and want to experience, I think we've created a really cool, fun atmosphere to be a part of. Like this is a really good opportunity to come in and just test it out for free. So encouraging people to come out to both of those.
How's Margot handling things?
Yeah, as well as she can be. It's interesting because like prior to this, I was down in Houston, and I actually coached her when she was 17 when she had her first knee surgery. So. I've been through this with her every step of the way, and it's been interesting seeing her. And we've talked a lot about developing people off the court also, like how she's handling this as a human being. And I don't think she could handle it better of, hey, I'm just going to control what I can control, and make sure that I come back stronger. And I think with this one, she's like, I want this to be the last time I don't have surgery on this. So she wants to do it right. She wants to put in the work, and she's handling it as well as any human being can. She's going to be missed. But I'm fired up with the way she's handling it as a human being.
What about the development of your freshmen?
Yeah, I don't think I could speak enough there. And I got to give, our veteran-laden team credit for it too. I think they did a good job of taking them under their wings and making sure they understand what our culture is going to be, how to play volleyball, how to do it at a high level. And they've soaked up things like a sponge. And you're seeing some of them pop on the court. Megan Fitch, you haven't seen yet. She had an ankle injury that she's just getting over right now, but she's going to be really, really good also. So at some point, you'll probably see her get a taste of the floor also and let fans see how good she's going to be. But that's the next generation. That's what has to carry this thing on and pass the torch. So they're doing a really good job.
Jamie, thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yep.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with Around Aggieland and Kaylee Dreyer. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, and online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you're a business owner and you're ready to take your operation to the next level, reach out to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They've expanded their selection of commercial vehicles, and they want to meet your everyday need. They have all the service body trucks you're looking for, the heavy-duty trucks, the flatbeds, you name it, they have it all for you. And the beauty of Caldwell Country Chevrolet is when you buy a vehicle from there, you get free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle. Their customer service, second to none. They also have complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan, to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. McKinley Polanski has got some stuff for us.
Yes, I do. Tonight, the SEC will reveal 4 seasons of opponents for every team. Tune in on SEC Network at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central Time. And I'm going to go over what to know and expect out of this. A 9-game SEC slate, 3 annual rivals, and 6 rotating opponents. Texas A&M's 3 annual rivals are Texas, LSU, and Missouri. There will be more matchups. Every SEC team plays every SEC team at least once every 2 years, home and away in 4 years. The rivalries are protected: Iron Bowl, Red River, Egg Bowl, Deep South's oldest rivalry, and more. It's balanced, no division, fair rotation across the league, and it's college football playoff ready. Stronger schedules boost college football playoff consideration.
Okay.
I thought that was interesting. I saw that yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I've made up my mind that A&M is going to have Georgia and Alabama on their schedule next year. I just feel like that's going to happen, along with LSU on their schedule, along with Texas on their schedule, and Missouri, who will probably be, again, a really good team, maybe with a more difficult schedule. That's just how my mind works. I don't say expect the worst on the field, but I expect that to be the case. Because, we can't have nice things. But I would love to go to Athens. I've never been. I think that'd be a great trip. Sure. You got any commentary from the YouTube pagers?
Yes. Dave earlier said, how different would we feel this week if the refs didn't reverse the OU fumble and caught the fake substitution play? That was a 14-point swing in favor of OU. How would we feel if Auburn beat OU?
I think I'm more worried because they lost, because they should have won, right? And they were robbed, and they're now a desperate team.
Now they're,
I also wonder what, at a neutral field, would people think Auburn would win or Notre Dame would win? I think most people would take Notre Dame there.
Yes,
but
I would.
I'm not 1,000% sure on that. So I don't know, honestly. Like, I look at that and I just don't know. I struggle with that one. I do struggle with that one. So in my opinion, that would probably be. I think we'd still look at Auburn the same way. I do. I think it makes them a little bit more dangerous because they lost and they should have won, in my opinion.
I agree. Okay. Yesterday, I saw that the 1975 Aggies uniforms coming back. Texas A&M football will honor its 1975 Southwest Conference co-championship team by wearing specially designed throwback uniforms for its SEC matchup against Florida on Saturday, October 11th, in a collaboration with Adidas. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I saw that. I like the way it looks.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Popo. Appreciate you. Okay, I got to stop calling you Popo.
No, you can call me Popo.
I don't know. It's just dorky. All right. When we come back on TexAgs Live, Brandon Leone, I believe he's out of town this weekend, so he won't be on the post-game wrap. But we'll talk to Brandon Leone, get his thoughts heading into this Auburn game. Looking forward to chit-chatting with him. After Mr. Leone is Coach G in studio. Talk about a rough start to the SEC play. Hopefully they can get some goals moving forward. I know they definitely need that. And then Jamie McCoy will close it out, the real McCoy there at 10:35. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. You can call us. You can text us. You can obviously comment on the premium chat or on the YouTube chat. But if you want to call us, that's 979-693-1150. That is the Buppy's Catering and Bartending hotline. Or you can also just text that number as well. It is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Brandon Leone joining us to talk about all things in life. What's up, Brandon?
What's up, Nuño? How are you, buddy?
Good
to see you.
You're out of town this weekend, right? So I don't think I'll see you this weekend, right?
You will see me. I'll be on the post game, but yeah, I'm gonna be in Cabo with some good friends, and we're actually staying at an Aggie's house in Cabo. That one of the things that I bought in the live auction at Vaughn's Visions thing at Miramont, and I got hyped up a little bit after golfing with him all day, and bought a nice little stay at a pretty amazing house. So we're excited about it. It should be fun.
You know, but okay, this was for good reasons. But you know, a lot of people that have a lot of cool things. Like I need to hang out with you a little bit more often. You have invited me, so I'll give you that. But like you're in Colorado not long ago. Like life is good, right?
Man, it's been really blessed. It's been a crazy last few years, professionally and personally, but it's been very rich and very fortunate, man. I'm just thankful, and most of it comes from knowing great people, man, great Aggies. Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun.
Hey, this football season, look, things can go south at any point. Last year we felt the 7. I don't like to preface, like make sure that I say that every time, but like I feel, to me, because of the Notre Dame game, it feels different. Now they got to prove to me it is different from here on out. But am I right? Does it feel different so far?
I think so, because I think what you saw in the Notre Dame game was, I think you mentioned this a lot the week after, but just exercising the demons of not winning a meaningful game on the road in a decade. And, you and I were both there. There was just so many things that didn't go our way. And I think the fact that we finished strong despite not even playing near our best football showed the toughness of this team, the culture that Elko is building, and their fight. Just those guys battled it out. I mean, you overcome a block punt for a touchdown and a turnover, and you give up 10 free points. You basically spot them that. You had so many procedure penalties. There's all these things that kind of stirred up the battered Aggie syndrome. But I'll tell you, man, I went to hear Elko speak last week at that Houston Touchdown Club in Houston, and I saw Luke and OB. And Elko said something, man, that I loved, and it resonated with me because I'm guilty of it. Like a lot of us have just, here we go again, the Eeyore, here goes A&M choking away an opportunity. Man, we need to be excited about this football team, right? Like that was something that makes us feel different, because despite playing bad, they overcame it and they won. They did what was necessary to win a top 10 game on the road. And then you stroll into the bye week with a lot of confidence. The national narrative, I don't want to say it's completely changed, because we've done this a lot in the past, but the news and the commentary on A&M in the last 7 to 10 days has been more positive than it's been in a really long time. And so you can't help but be excited for these guys and for that program. And I know I'm personally excited about it for sure.
Brandon, this bye week to me, I don't know if it comes at a great time or not. I think it's all a product of your situation. But coming off an emotional win, I think it can be a good reset. What do you think?
Absolutely. The conversation always goes on the bye week, right, is when a team's hot and they've won a lot of games, and then you enter a bye week and kind of mess up the rhythm and the routine. And it can be like, oh, man, we just want to play. We want to get on the field next. Like, what's on the schedule next? But I think if you look at how our season lays out, I would have preferred it to be a little bit later than this. But the timing of it, as you head into, 8 SEC games, in a row, like you need to be rested and recovered as much as possible. You need to get back to the basics and clean up these things as a football team that are going to hinder us from winning more of those big games like Notre Dame. Procedure penalties, special teams letdowns, and letting a untouched person on defense run through and block a punt for a touchdown. Like so many of these little mistakes that add up to big results for us, whether positive or negative, they got to be corrected. Get back to the fundamentals. And so I think this bye week comes for a good time for us, because when you get an emotional high like that from a big win, it's nice to be able to kind of circle back, get back to center and be like, hey, I love this feeling. We need to focus on the things that are going to help us to continue to build on that and experience it more throughout the season. And we're getting ready for an SEC grind ahead of us for the next 2 months that we got to be prepared for mentally, physically, emotionally, all the things.
Brandon, let's look at things that are looking good, some things that need to be better, right? So give me both sides. What have you liked so far? What are some areas that you're like, hey, man, this is elite level stuff? And what are some areas I'm kind of watching out for, these 2 or 3 little different areas?
Yeah, I think no question it's got to be the downfield passing game. The way that Marcel Reed and this team has been connecting on fields or balls downfield, explosive plays. I think we heard them say that we had 0 plays over 15 yards against Notre Dame last year, and this year I believe it was 9 or 10. I can't remember the exact number, but you think about the additions that Elko and this staff put together with Craver and KC, the tight ends, the guy that caught the game-winning touchdown. I think what we've done is positioned ourselves to be a team that is hard to game plan against because we have great running backs. I think we have a pretty good offensive line. And now Marcel has answered the question that everybody said over the summer, can he throw the football? But another thing Elko said that was so funny to me is he said everyone said Marcel's a downfield passer after the Notre Dame game, and that was his lowest completion percentage since he's been here. And so the narratives that get created are wild. But what he did show you is that he's improved, right? We stretch the field. We're attacking the middle of the field. We're taking the top of the defense. And what that does, Nuño, is they can't stack the box against us anymore. They have to factor not only in Marcel's running game and Le'Veon and Ruben and Smith and the young guy, but now they got to think about, man, they got 2 of the most explosive receivers in the SEC. Like, if we stack the box, we're going to get cooked. Like, these guys have the ability to burn us at any time. And so that opens up the playbook a lot for Mr. Klein. And that opens up the playbook for us as a team on offense. So I think that's gone really well. I think from a standpoint of what can get better, go back and listen to the post-game wrap. If you heard me say this, and every single one of them, I've been concerned about our ability to contain the football on the outside runs. We've let people outflank us and get outside way too many times. And so I think we have got to find a way to set the edge, to focus more on just containing them and forcing the running backs or receivers back to our help, right? Because when you get outflanked, you just got to hope whoever's on the back end is faster than that guy that breaks out. But if you force them on the inside, you have 7, 8 guys pursuing the football that can minimize these explosive plays. And so I really, heading into SEC play, I'm hoping that that's something they worked on a ton this past week. And then I think also our special teams play has got to improve. We didn't punt the ball well in Notre Dame. We missed a field goal that going into halftime that would have been a big deal for us. And then we had a blocked punt for a touchdown. And so between the special teams play being crisp and consistent, it's a third phase of the game that's very, very important, can cost you or win you a game. Between setting the edge and getting a little bit better on our fits on the run defense, and then the procedure penalties. These little things that add up in a big way and put us behind the chains and change our ability to call the plays we want to play, situational football. Those are the things that I think are going to hinder us that need to be improved.
Brandon, I think it's interesting that this team has yet had that game where they're like, we're just going to run the ball and you're not going to stop us. And I think they can. We also haven't seen the read option as much, right? So, which is, I think, exciting at the same time. Like, hey, this is still something they're very elite at that they haven't even shown just yet. But I feel that day is coming. I don't know if it's against Auburn or what, but I feel like we're going to have one of those games where Le'Veon Moss is just grinding through a fourth quarter victory and they just can't get him off the field.
100%. There's no doubt that that's coming. Personally, for me, I love that they've kind of slowly ramped Le'Veon up. We all know this. I mean, losing him, I think, changed the outcome of our season last year. He is that good of a football player. And even against Notre Dame, right? His yards per carry wasn't crazy. He didn't have any crazy breakaway runs, but he ran his freaking tail off. He was physical. He fought for extra yardage. He fell forward. He had 3 touchdowns, ran the ball well for us down there in the red zone and inside the 5. And so it's only a matter of time before we lean on our run game. And I personally loved at Notre Dame, like some of the people around us were like, throw the football. I love that they stayed committed, because by staying committed, they're making sure that we're not a one-dimensional team. Like, they have to think about us being able to run the football. And I know that Klein wants to, but something I think that he has done well, even in just Notre Dame and the other 2 games before that, is take what they give us, do what's working and go win the football game. There's no exact formula, and every game is different, and the feel of the game, the situations change. And I think it's good and comforting to know that we have that ability to do that. And you are right. There's no telling. It could be this week, right? It could be Auburn, and we just run the football. I don't know that yet, to be sure, but I'm excited because I know that we have that ability, and they've been working on it and staying consistent with it, even when it hasn't been the big plays that we saw a lot of last year. So I think it's coming eventually.
Have you watched much of Jackson Arnold? And Anything about him like worry you, or do you see some opportunities?
Opportunities for sure. I think last year that guy had the game of his life against us, and they hit some downfield balls. I think it's stating the obvious. This isn't some great analysis, but Cam Coleman is their best player, and he's a big problem. And so I think it's going to be a big challenge for Ricks and for Will Lee. I think when I think about Jackson R, I watched most of that OU game. I had to leave because Everly had softball, but he's dangerous enough with his feet to put you in a bad position if you don't contain him and watch out for him. But I think if we put pressure on him and we hit him like OU did last week, I think his accuracy is inconsistent. And so he missed Cam Coleman, 2-3 times that could have been walk-in touchdowns. And so, you got to hope that the noise at Kyle Field, that the environment in front of the 12th man is going to hinder that ability. But the more and more that we can create pressure like OU did, he doesn't concern me as much as other guys later down the schedule do. So I think this is a very winnable football game for us. But again, contain, right? Keep the run game inside and then create pressure on that guy and make him beat you with his arm. If we make him beat us with his arm and we're able to get pressure without having to bring 6 or 5 on a blitz every time, I think they're going to have a tough day if we do those things.
And you feel better about the secondary as a group?
I do. Willie surprisingly has gotten beat a couple times this year, but again, man, cornerback to me is the hardest position in football. I mean, you think about it, brother. You're lining up in front of animals like Cam Coleman, like just physical beasts that know what they're doing. They know what route they're running, and you're basically guessing. You're lining up in front of them, facing them, having to backpedal, open your hips, worry about a double move. Is it zone? Is it man? Like there's so many things that go into play in defensive back, and that's why the elite ones get paid so much money. I do think it's a big challenge for them, but I think they're ready for it. Ricks has played amazing this year. He's improved a ton. Willie has shown us that he can do it. And so I think he's due for one of his better games. And what a better week than to go and stand up and shut down Cam Coleman. Because if we take away Cam Coleman, man, they're going to have a tough day. I really believe that.
Well, if you think about some of the questions we had entering the season, how healthy is Le'Veon? Seems pretty darn healthy to me. How is the secondary? I think Des Ricks' improvement is got to be noted, right? So that's another question that was answered. How's Marcel's throwing? Improved. So a lot of the questions we had entering the season, Brandon, have been answered. The one that still hasn't been completely answered, but semi-answered, I think, is the ability to give up the big play. You're going to give up big plays against certain offenses. Auburn's going to have their big plays. Notre Dame certainly had theirs. But that's one area that I think that it's still a TBD, although I have seen progress.
I agree. Yeah, and I think a lot of it will get fixed if we focus on containing the run, setting the edge, making the right fits. I think that's a big part of why we've been gassed so many times. But and the big thing for me, and this is the other thing I think you and I have talked about a lot in the post-game wrap, and this has just been something we've struggled with for a while, is our eye discipline. You get these teams that have a lot of misdirection. Like think about one of their big plays was when that tight end opened up, I think it was like a reverse pass or a delay. I can't remember what it was, but in the first quarter when that tight end got downfield, the running back wheel, that's basic play. The linebackers just got to watch his guy and run with him, And so we let these big plays happen where it's just a mental lapse, or they distract you with motion or play action or something like that, misdirection. We've just got to play more discipline with our eyes. But on the flip side of that question, Nuño, have we answered that? Giving up the big plays, how do we respond? I think Notre Dame was a big yes for me towards answering that question, because we gave up big plays. They trained the clock with 6 minutes left. Then we had a big play and had it called back, the kick return getting called back, and then we still drove down. So the team has shown a desire to win, and the culture seems to be different, because every time that game was so back and forth, like we'd make big plays and then they'd get big plays. We'd be down, but we'd fight back. We battled back for the lead at halftime when it seemed like that game was going to get away from us. And then we battled back in the fourth quarter and answered with field goals. The good part about special teams, our guy was nails when he needed to be in the second half and in the fourth quarter, and to make the extra point, dude, that's a lot of pressure. You're about to go and win this top 10 game. All you got to do is kick the extra point. I promise you that's in your mind as a human being when you're lining up to kick it, and for the holder. And so to see them execute when it was critical and necessary was extremely encouraging for sure.
Another theme that I have in my head, I want Kyle Field to mean something again, right? And it means something. Don't get me wrong, but I want A&M to protect their home field this season like we haven't seen since the late 80s, early 90s, right? Like, especially a game like this where you're taking on a team that's really good, right? Like, nobody's going to be surprised if Auburn goes 9-3, right? But it doesn't matter. They come to your house, they leave. It's like when A&M went to South Carolina. I know it was a night game. They got humbled last year. I want Auburn to get humbled when they come to Kyle Field.
Kyle Field has to mean something. I mean, just your home field advantage is everything. And there's zero doubt. I promise, as unbiased as I can be. I've been to a lot of stadiums, played in a lot of stadiums. Kyle Field is second to none. The only thing that compares is Death Valley at night, when they're playing a big game. That gets pretty rowdy. You cannot deny that. But look at our schedule. I mean, our next, 3 games? Auburn, Mississippi State, and Florida. Like, you can start SEC play 3-0. You could be 6-0 if you take care of Kyle Field, because then you go and you play some pretty tough SEC road games. And so from a getting to your goal standpoint, you have to take care of your home field because the advantage is yours, right? And it's your home, it's your crowd. You got people willing you and standing all game, cheering for you. Kyle Field has to mean something for us to ever achieve the goals we want to as a program. And so I agree with you. Nothing would be better than to start SEC playoff. I don't know how many people agree with me, but last year Auburn game was the game that pissed me off the most. I was so upset after that game, dude. I don't know why. Probably because of where they were at in their season and where we were at in our season. And it couldn't have been a worse situation for us. And so I've had this one circled on the calendar. It's kind of unfortunate that our dates for this trip we're going on were like super limited where we're staying in Cabo. So we had to pick this window. I hate missing games at Kyle, but I will be cheering on in spirit and doing as much as I can to give them hell from far away.
Brandon, I'm going to ask you something to close out that was asked of us on the YouTube page. Does the Auburn loss to Oklahoma change the way you look at them? Because to me, they should have won that game, and they didn't. Yeah. And now they're desperate. So, I think the fact that they lost makes them, I think, a little bit more dangerous. That's just the way I see it. How do you see it?
That's exactly the way I see it. Listen, for the most part, I'm always cheering for the people that we play to win because I only think about us. And so I would have rather played a ranked Auburn team at Kyle Field. In the event we win, it looks better for our resume. And at this point, the way the college football world has gone, you want the best resume possible. And I think you're right, dude. They're a wounded animal, right? Like the procedure touchdown where the Satanga kid looked like he was going out of bounds shouldn't have happened. There were some plays that were pretty questionable. Even the fumble that they overturned, that Auburn returned for a touchdown, you could have argued either way that was a fumble. I mean, I don't know. I just felt like they had some pretty unfortunate calls. Nothing surprises me with SEC officials ever anymore. Like literally nothing surprises me. But I don't like the fact that loss hurt them because they still have goals. They are pissed off from losing that game that was very winnable. And so they're going to come in here with their backs against the wall, knowing if we 0-2 in SEC play with 8 more games left, it's an uphill climb at that point. And so, yeah, man, they're going to be dialed in. There's no doubt about it. And we need to have our minds right, and we need to go out there and take care of business and prove to the world that Notre Dame was not a fluke and that we are up and to the right as a program. So it's an important game. I would have rather they won because now when you have that desperation and it's kind of a must-win type game, you're going to get people's best shot. And now we're top 10, right? Like, so people are going to be circling our game on the schedule, whether they're a rival or not. They want to beat us. So,
Brandon, great stuff, man. We'll see you this weekend, brother.
Appreciate you. Okay, man. Have a good week.
See you. Brandon Leone there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with Coach G here in studio. Right now, Twin Liquors, family owned since 1937. They're your local home for wine, for spirits, and good vibes. And you can celebrate every sip there at Twin Liquors. Twin Liquors is here to help you for all your moments that matter. Take advantage of simple online ordering when you order at twinliquors.com, or you get your cocktail fixings and wine delivered with DoorDash or Favor. And have you shopped the deal of the week at Twin Liquors? Every Thursday, a fresh selection of items are offered at fantastic prices. Shop those deals in-store and online. And did you know that Twin Liquors is not only an excellent selection of wine and spirits, but they also host in-store events. Visit twinliquors.com/events to find the nearest one by you. It is Twin Liquors. Check them out. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Coach G in studio, talk a little Aggie soccer. G, I was telling you at the break, like, I know you've lost these first couple of SEC games. I came away from the Arkansas game. I was there encouraged, and I don't like saying that because I know you don't. You guys are knocking on the door of scoring a lot of goals. Is what it feels like.
We're out playing good teams in key elements. It's just that they found a way to score and we didn't. We had shooting 10-4. We hold. They're the number 10 team in the country. We hold them to one shot in the second half, which that doesn't really happen against those guys. And but again, the bottom line is, we're not, when we have our chances, we're not capitalizing. I think they probably blocked 6 of our shots that were set up really well. The thing is, again, we have 11 new starters this year, and things can't happen fast enough sometimes, but you see the development going on from game to game as far as the things that we're able to do. Our defense has been rock solid. You got to give Tim Strader and those guys, big time kudos, because it's been rock solid. The game on Thursday, Mason Veranda with a freaking great game, player of the match for sure. And it wasn't that she was like swinging from the crossbar. I mean, she was just making all the right saves that she needed to make, keeping us absolutely in the game. And then we had some chances late that we just we didn't slip somebody through. Or we didn't. It's the last little ball that comes to it. But that's the one that's happening so quickly that you've got to have enough reps to with your teammates to get known. So part of it's just the way it is. Part of the development process is 2 of our big time attacking pieces only got here this summer. So they're still kind of getting on the same page with the rest of the team. It was that way at the start of the spring with all these new players. And by the end of the spring, we were clicking. We won our last 5 games without really giving up more than 1 goal. So that's positive as far as where we're going. But we got to and we're playing against top 10 teams week after week. Good news is we've only played the number 3 team in the country this year this week on the road. But it's okay because it raises our level and it puts us. We're able to play nose to nose with these teams. And we're talking about how Rob Childress used to have the phrase that the game is fair, and our game is fair, and things go against you, they're going to turn around if you just keep working and keep plugging. And that's the thing I've been most enthused about, is that this is not a team of quitters. This is a team of really high character individuals who are working hard to get it done. We just have to keep plugging away and make some little adjustments to the way that we balance and the way that we technically go through some things, and those balls will go into the crossbar and in the net.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I noticed was the morale's fine, right? Like I don't see a team that is panicking for starting off SEC play the way you all have. I think it's more of all right, we can hang with these teams. We just got to finish.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to being at the top of the heap in the SEC. We're not used to being in the bottom half. But that said, with 1 win, we automatically jump about 8 teams in the standings, and we put ourselves right back into the mix. And again, we need a top 50 win for our NCAA resume. Well, that's what this game on Friday night in Knoxville has. It is it's a skin that we can go out and try to get.
Well, and that's what you signed up to do in the SEC, right? Is to have these kind of matchups and opportunities.
Well, that's why we're here at Texas A&M. It's why we've won 18 conference championships, is because in soccer, because this is our expectation. This is what we want to do. So we're having to replace 11 starters. That's out of 11. That's means that we're trying to put together a lot of things really quickly. But again, I'm really enthused by the way that the effort, the intensity by which they're going about it. And again, one of our big points from this past weekend, because Arkansas puts you under such pressure, double teaming all over the place, is that if you don't play quickly, if you're not thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead of the game, you're going to get steamrolled. And that never happened. It was basically our players just kind of zipping the ball and moving the ball, and then putting ourselves in pretty good positions, just not finishing those. So you can bet there'll be some speed of play in the last 20 to 30 yards and balls on frame this week in training.
How does the way Arkansas play translate to Tennessee? Because you're going against another top 5 team.
Yeah, so Tennessee is, they were number one in the nation until they lost to Mississippi State, who's also having a great year. And they are very much a high possession team. They like to play in a big shape, which again opens them up for some things that we do. Their top scorers are down right now as far as some, it seems like some injuries. We don't get injury reports like the betting sites would get because it's just the way it is. But they're a little bit susceptible. They just big 2-1 win against LSU on Sunday, which was pretty impressive. But LSU created a lot of chances, and I think that we can do the same and maybe get something out of it. It's similar. It's really interesting because there's a lot of places in our league that get great support. Tennessee's one of them. They have a really nice facility, but it's all the seating is on one side. And of course, that's where the cameras are because it's the west side, the sun's behind you. And you don't see that there's a full house on this side. I mean, I think sometimes we're doing our sport a real disservice by not putting the cameras around facing so you see the field and you see this massive crowd behind you. Same thing at South Carolina, same thing at Arkansas, same thing at so many different places. Even Auburn, we had a really good crowd. But again, all you see is the field and the players on the other side of the field. That's why Ellis Field is so unique in that we've got seating all the way around. The energy pumps from all over the place. And, we're going to need that energy when we're back at home. Next week, we get Longhorns coming to town on Thursday. They haven't been back to our place since we beat them 4-1 here, but it was 2019 in the NCAA tournament. So it'll be great to have them on campus. I think might be some people who have some interest in that match. It's going to be a 7:00 match. It's a SEC network game, but getting people out here next Thursday. We'll talk about this next week, but that's a big opportunity for us.
Well, and if you're able to get the result that you want against Tennessee, I don't want to say the schedule lightens up because everybody in the SEC is good, but there's some opportunity to really get some momentum going.
Like I said, this league. I know it sounds like coach speak, but any team can beat any team, and you'll see that this week with us being one of the teams at the lower half, playing the team at the top. So. Or just play the team in first place, and frankly, shouldn't have lost. And so that's the kind of games you're going to get all the time. There's no easy matches. There's no impossible matches. And for us, it's just a matter of what do we control. We've got to do the very, very best at the things that we have control over. And we have control over more things than you think. You don't have control over the weather. You don't have control over their crowd. But we can control their crowd by us playing well and keeping them down. So a lot of things that can happen for us this week.
Gee, thank you. Appreciate you,
buddy. Thank you.
When we come back, the real McCoy, Jamie McCoy, here on TexAgs Live. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We go back to the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Jamie McCoy joining us for the Real McCoy. What's up, my man?
What's going on, David? Happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you on the program. So I know the Jamie McCoy confidence meter is usually semi-high. Where is the Jamie McCoy confidence meter heading into this Auburn game?
Oh, man, it's high, but I got a little bit of skepticism. Not a little bit, I should say. I got all the confidence in the world in the Aggies, but I just know what's looming and the few ways that we can be beat, and I'm hoping we don't allow that.
All right, so what are the ways that Auburn can beat A&M?
Number one is letting Arnold get busy with his legs. I happened to be at the Baylor Auburn game earlier this year, first game of the year on that Friday, and Baylor had a good game plan. They didn't respect Arnold's legs enough, and he bailed them out in a lot of situations and allowed them to get touchdowns, first downs, and keep the chains moving. So I think that's the number one thing we can do is kind of limit the run, and not necessarily the running backs, but they do have a good backfield. But overall team run, we cannot allow the quarterback to bail himself out, get out of tight pockets or whatever the case may be. And then secondly, when it comes to third and long, red zone, I don't care what the situation is, they are going to throw the ball up to number 8, Coleman. Whether it be a slant, a fade, a post, they're going to throw it up to him. I don't necessarily think that we have to double team him, but if that's the case, I'm not opposed to it because I know that that's their only way of beating us. So those are the two things. If we can limit Jackson Arnold's legs and we can limit the deep ball to Coleman because they're going to throw at least 5 of them. If we can come out on the top end of that, I think we handle this game easily.
Talking to Jamie McCoy here on TexAgs Live. Jamie, how desperate is Auburn considering it's still early in the season, but they've lost an SEC game? A&M hasn't played an SEC game, but they're a top 10 team, and just all the scenarios behind a team that is wounded that feels that they were wronged.
Oh yeah, they're going to come out super desperate. Their back is against the wall. You hate to be in the Clemson scenario where you got 3 losses already, and granted they've only got 1, but they're going to be fighting like hell to not get that second loss. But for me, I think our desperation has to be even more so than that. I'm remembering last year, this team coming out fired up. We happened to go and play them in, I think, our second night game, maybe third night game. And then the way that we lost that in overtime. I mean, unfortunate that Amari missed that pass, but we did a lot of fighting to get back, scratching the claw to get back in that game. But if I'm in that Aggie locker room, I'm remembering that. If I'm Elko, I'm telling them guys, y'all remember how y'all felt walking off that field. Y'all remember how y'all felt when them fans rushed the field and it put a damper on the end of our season. These are things that I kind of want to put in the forefront of their mind, and those are things that kind of can propel you to go into the system, go into a good week of practice, and then go into the game and say, you know what, we got some get back that we got to get.
Talking to Jamie McCoy here on TexAgs. Jamie, to me, it's not the most important part of the game, but I think a very integral part of this game could be the start. You don't want to play from behind. You played from behind a little bit against Notre Dame. You don't want to play from behind, especially at home against Auburn, a game that you fell behind 21-0 a year ago.
Man, I was just about to say that. That reminds me a lot of the game last year, and you're exactly right. You don't want to start behind, especially that's kind of been the Aggies' thing is coming off that bye week and just kind of moseying into the game and kind of oozing out there. I hope these guys come out fired up. I think you're absolutely correct. You got to come out with a spark. There has to be. I think Aggies all around. We want to. We kind of been hearing everybody pump our praises this past week and a half. Now we want to come out there and see, are we there? Is it prosperity? Like we've got to come out and show, hey, we're in the top 10. We belong in the top 10, and this is exactly why. We're not going to be the same Aggies of old. We're going to come out and punch these guys in the mouth. And I think they're absolutely capable of that. I know that Elko has to know that that's what's at hand is not coming out there and starting slow. I love to see us come out, get an early lead, and cruise this thing into the fourth quarter, but we all know that typically in this game, that's not the case. I'm expecting a barn burner, but I'm expecting us to coming off a week of rest. We should be out there playing at our best.
What do you think a coaching staff is doing? They look at what happened in the game against Oklahoma and they find areas that they can expose / areas that maybe Auburn would try to like. How do you think that preparation is going right now?
I think you go and you see what worked well for them last week, what worked well against them. And then the second part of that is I think you go back to the game film of last year and you say, okay, we were this type of team. What did they do to try to stop us? What did they do to mitigate the run, mitigate the pass? And how can we go back and attack that this year? Now, granted, you get new players and new schemes, and I believe they still got the same coaching staff, but at the same time, there's stuff that you can take away from how they played you in the past. And, you know, most guys go back to their old tricks. So I hope that we come out there ready for their best effort, ready to put forth our best effort, and come away with this thing.
So I on my Twitter feed just a second ago, Nathan King, who covers Auburn for 247, says that Hugh Freeze on his on Tiger Talk yesterday said he thinks A&M is a better team than Oklahoma because they're more complete. How complete is A&M?
Oh man, I think we're the total package. If we can get our defense on one accord, I think the sky's the limit for us. I absolutely agree with that. I thought Oklahoma would come out there and do a little bit more, but it seemed that they couldn't get the downfield passing game going as we've seen them do in their earlier teams they faced. But I think A&M, I think we haven't even unleashed our run game yet. In fact, I know that we haven't. Even though Le'Veon had a good game last week, I'm hoping that we come out and we actually show that balanced attack. I remember us having DJ, the defensive coordinator. If he comes out there in that three-man front, we need to run for 250, 300 yards. We cannot allow them to disrespect and kind of stifle us with the three-man front. I know that was one of our gripes when he was on our staff, but that's just disrespect on their end if they come out there and try to play us that way. But I love to see us go out there and run the ball well. I know Marcel is going to do his thing passing the ball. I love to see Bussy and Bethel Roman get involved as well. And then can't forget about my tight ends. I know I expect one or two of those guys to make a big grab and pull down a touchdown. So I think he was exactly right. I think we're one of the most balanced teams in the NCAA this year, and I hope that we go out there and display that this Saturday.
Jimmy, maybe I say this because I'm trying to make myself feel better, but I think Notre Dame's a really good team. And I know that there are questions about their defense. I still think they're a really good team. And I admit, I might be saying that to make myself feel better, but I do believe Notre Dame would beat Auburn if they played. That doesn't necessarily mean anything against A&M, but just the way my mind works. Does that jive with you?
No, it absolutely jives with me. I had a buddy who's a big Nebraska fan, and we kind of had this argument. He tried to downplay our win, and I try to tell him, listen, man, Notre Dame is a good team. They're kind of dealing with a lot of the issues that we're dealing with right now, whereas their defense isn't bad. They've just had some busts and given up some big plays. And other teams, they're on scholarship as well. They're going to score on you. So I think it's just a little bit of that. They just haven't gelled quite the right way that they need to. Like I said, a lot similar to the Aggies. But I absolutely believe Notre Dame is a great team. I absolutely see them winning out and making their way into that playoff. And I think that'll just be a resume booster for us for going out there and doing what we did. But don't take anything away from them and Freeman. He's a great coach. He's put together a good staff. They've got bona fide players over there, captains and whatnot. So, I mean, they're not in the Clemson situation right now. So They lost two. I think they're going to finish out the season on the right half of things. And like I said, I think it'll bode well for Aggies.
Do you think Notre Dame would beat Auburn, or do you think that would be a pretty tight game?
I think they would beat Auburn because one thing I know about them, they would take away this run from Jackson Arnold, and then their cornerback play is good enough that I know that they could stifle Coleman as well. Not to say that ours isn't. We just got to go out there. We know the task at hand. I'm telling you, you can book it. They're going to throw that ball up to Coleman, especially if they get anywhere from the 30-yard line in. So just know it's coming. Play into it. I know Elko's got a plan, and I can't wait to see it on display. I'll be out there.
Is this a ridiculous thought? Okay, fine. Throw it to Cam. Cam Coleman's going to have his game. He'll have his 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. But we're not going to let anybody else beat us. We're not going to let Jackson Arnold's legs beat us. We're not going to let the running back beat us. Is that a recipe to win or no? You've got to somehow neutralize a big wide receiver threat in Cam Coleman.
I think it is a recipe to win, but at the same time, I think you can do a little bit of both. If you do the latter and you take away Arnold's legs, I think that's half the battle. Coleman, I expect him to get, he's a great player. If you throw him 6, I expect him to maybe come down with 2 or 3 of them. I don't want to take anything away from him. I know he's a great player, but I know that we could spin the coverage over that way. We can heat the guy up. We can send pressure and make Arnold make a bad time throw or just put the wrong loft on the throw. So I can absolutely see us winning it the latter way, but the former way is just, hey, put your pride aside. Have somebody one-on-one with him, with somebody over the top, just so that he knows that he has help and he can play him aggressive. So I know Will Lee's up for the task. I know Dez is up for the task. We'll see which one of these guys makes a play. And like I said, that's the only way that we can be beat, but I don't see it happening.
Last thing for you. Is this the Le'Veon game, the game where see, he's back? I mean, by the way, I thought he played very well against Notre Dame, and he had, 3 touchdowns. So, but like that one game where he's got 120 and you just run the ball in the whole fourth quarter and it's a wrap.
I think this is a Le'Veon game. It's an afternoon game. We should come out there. The building should be packed. I know Aggies remember the game from last year, like I said. I think this is not only a Le'Veon game, but this is an offensive line game where you go out there and impose your will. Everybody from this season knows us as the new age Aggies that are slinging it around. But I think this game, you go out there and you lace up your bootstraps and you say, can you stop us? And I don't think they can. I don't think they have the manpower to stop us. And like I said, not only Le'Veon gets put on blast this game, but I think the O-line goes out there and shows why they're one of the top O-lines of the nation, and they bring it home for us.
Jamie, I appreciate it, man. We'll see you soon.
Man, always, David. Thank you. Gig 'em.
Thank you. Gig 'em. Jamie McCoy on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we'll read a ridiculous text or two. That's what we'll do, because there's some questions out there. If you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggieland, or you're already in Aggieland and looking for a great opportunity to help Aggies, you need to check out the Association of Former Students. A buddy of mine actually applied for a couple different jobs there. He's trying to move to the College Station area, and he's like, I'm going to check out what they had. And there was a couple different openings that he applied for. They are the nation's premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting A&M in part of that Aggie network, and they play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out the association with Howdy Socials, Aggie Rain Day class reunions, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students. And we're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. So there's a text that I want to get into, Popo and Lukey, as I give everybody a nickname, that the name on the text says, I guess this person's been banned many times. I haven't banned this person, okay? I haven't. I don't really ban people. But I do sometimes, but very rarely. It says, this question I think is an interesting question. It's a kind of a ridiculous question, but it's not that ridiculous. So here we go. Nuñoism for you. If Mario Cravers, you gave him the last name Cravers, goes for over 300 yards in a game, would he be the Heisman favorite? Steve. Steve, if Mario Craver gets 300 yards receiving against Auburn, I don't know if he'll be the favorite, but yes, I would expect him to be in the Heisman conversation 4 games into a season with still 8 to go. Luke, agree or disagree?
Agree, because he's already in the Heisman conversation. A lot of people have him in that 7 to 10 range. Anything more than 200 yards is going to keep him in that range. He's already on pace and exceeding Devonta Smith's pace when he won the Heisman. So, yeah, just 200 yards or more. That would be getting greedy to hope for
just 200 yards or more? Are you ridiculous?
150. But 300, like if he puts up 300 against anybody the rest of the year, he's going to become the favorite. But just to stay in that race,
if he gives you 91, which seems pedestrian for him, but like if he gives you 91 and 2 scores, like he's still in the mix. Right?
And there's a lot of other quarterbacks starting to add their name into the hat. I think he needs at least a 150 and a score.
All right. Well,
Smith scored 23 touchdowns when he won the Heisman. Craver's going to need to. He's got the yards. He needs touchdowns.
I'm just saying. I'd like to see Casey get some love too.
Yeah, I do too.
All right. Any other things to end the show with?
Nope. I agree with Luke. I think 150 yards as well.
150 yards.
Because he's already in the running.
But by the way, what does that do to Marcel? Does he get elevated too?
That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input as the music gets louder to remind us that the show's about then. That's going to do it for TexAgs Live on a Tuesday. Tomorrow on the show, Ryan Browninger, John Harris.